air defenses scrambling to intercept the wave.
Officials in Thailand's constitutional court have suspended Prime Minister Paetongtarn Shinawatra pending an investigation into allegations of leaked phone call manipulation.
The court cited evidence suggesting abuse of power while granting the suspension order. The move plunges Thai politics into deeper uncertainty ahead of national elections.
African leaders confirmed that 8 foreign nationals deported from the U.S. have arrived in South Sudan after a Supreme Court ruling cleared the way.
The individuals convicted of violent crimes were held at a U.S. military base in Djibouti before transfer.
Search efforts continue in Central Texas after flash flooding from July 4th weekend devastated communities, killing over 100 people and leaving dozens unaccounted for.
This is News in 60 with Alan
opinions
Edwards.
expressed on this program are those of the host or guest and should not be interpreted
I
as
could have
statements
sworn he
of
said
fact.
in your booty.
Independent fact-checking and corrections are encouraged.
Can we get a cup of coffee in here, please?
If you're gonna do it in your booty, you might as well. My dog. TV. I guess. If the little buttons never work. Never work. The little buttons never work.
Damn, it's hot and hot.
No.
My dog is your mind's best friend.
No, nothing is your best friend. All your worst enemy. My worst enemy.
My dog is your mind's best friend.
Wake up, America. You've got a dog that needs walking. That's right, sunshine. Just put on a big pot of strong coffee and get ready to type your little hate mail with your opinions about kumbaya and flat earth insanity. Stand-up comedy? You want stand-up comedy? Well, we've got sit-down comedy. It's time for Coffee with a Dog. You make me laugh.
No. Oh. Oh, do I have to ride this thing? Like ride that bitch? I feel like saying ride that bitch. I'm just, do I turn it off on its own or it open up? Ah! See, I started it because it turned itself off. I was going to stop. I hate fucking StreamYard. Well, it used to be so easy. Used to be so easy. Good morning, folks. It is Thursday, right? July 10th, 2025. Does that feel about right? Same shit, different day. No, same. Oh, yeah, that's what it is. I didn't sleep well again. I never sleep well. And that's not your problem. That's my problem. But it occurs to me that if I don't do something about my various medical problems, I'll be dead by tomorrow. So I guess I got to get on that today. Feels like I got a little. What was the last time you had a little? But anyway, so today Jackie the Joke Man Martling will be here. He's expected in the first hour, but you know what? You can't always get what you want. We'll see when he gets here. Stephen is not with us. Stephen is already checked out. He'll be with us. He says he'll be with us sometime, but Stephen will be leaving the show. I know we pulled this trick on you before. We're pulling this trick on you again. Stephen will be leaving the show tomorrow. It'll be his last day forever. He's not coming back because, once a quitter, always a quitter. But he'll be working in a bank. Listen, there's nothing wrong with taking a day job. I've said that 1,000 times. But in a bank, there's something wrong with that. I'm sorry. Unless you're stealing money or have a way to, or have a plan to steal money from the bank. Don't work in a. Nobody should work in a bank. Banks are evil. Except when you need them for a loan or something, I guess. But even then, they find a way to fuck you. Is it too quick, too soon to drop an F-bomb? They find a way to fuck you. Anyway, so Stephen will, but he's doing a podcast on with some one of his AI gay friends. He'll be doing a little podcast with, so it'll be like AI homosexuality podcast or something. So I look forward to that. It'll probably be after he gets home from the bank. The bank. I say bank. I'm not even going to talk about the shit that's going on in the world. I'm just not going to do it, right? You say, I'm sure you're not. We're doing. Did release the Stoner movie thing. Fucking died. It died on the vine. But I will be starting the reaction log channel today. And we'll see what happens with that. Why, stop sending me naked pictures. Oh, this is GD. I'm sorry. Yeah, well, stop sending me. What the, no, it's all. Anyway, yeah. So I just got desperate. I'm like, I don't know if you could tell, but I need a laugh. I really need a laugh. I need a good laugh, which is Jackie's got a good laugh, and this is how it goes. So we look forward to that later on today. Anyway, I've been working on some Tantalese stuff because Steven's not going to be here. What's the point of making fun of Steven in the commercial? We'll do it one more time or two more times. And then, but I'm working on one for the Rev. Blessings and Blasphemy. The Rev will be endorsing as part of. I got to get the names of his games, and that's just shame, or is it lame? Together, so I can kind of work on that. But I got some cool music happening anyway. Yeah, blah blah blah. So, but in the meantime, we're stuck with making fun of Steven for 2 more days. So, have at it.
Click on link, he goes to Tantalese, soft and pink. She comes without a head, but at least she'll never shit the bed. You need a fake rubber to squeeze, be like Steven Ortiz. Lose it up, it's so soft, get you 10% off. He goes to Tantalese, he goes to Tantalese, he goes to Tantalese, he goes to Tantalese.
All right, then. And ladies and gentlemen, in the room with me now, speaking of people who rob banks, G.D. Fenderson is with me, the infamous bank robber, G.D. Fenderson.
Good morning, America. MindDogTV.com, and I have successfully gotten away with robbing 4 sperm banks this week alone. So, what?
Why would you do what?
That's expensive. That's good stuff. Bull sperm and cow and horse sperm, you can make a lot of money. Now, cow sperm, not so much, because that's just milk. That's just milk. But if you can get good bull sperm or good horse sperm, you're a stud.
I did not know that you could. I mean, because you run away with the banks, you run away with a bag of money. I don't know.
Here's the problem. If you get caught robbing a bank, okay, you got the money, the police sneak up on you. You can't just swallow the money and get rid of it. See, you get caught with the evidence. But if you rob a sperm bank and you get caught or cornered, you can just swallow the evidence. Don't never.
If you got Rod Stewart waiting for you in the getaway car, hey Rod, get rid of the evidence, destroy the evidence. Now that's illegal. I don't know if you know that, but
swallowing sperm?
No, destroying the evidence is illegal.
No, it's only illegal. It's only illegal if you're if it's not Trump related.
Oh,
And I'll say it's Trump related. I'll say that it was for him.
all right. Fine. Trump needs your sperm. Get your Trump sperm at Mar-a-Lago. Hell, I'm sorry. That's terrible. I didn't sleep well. Did I mention I didn't sleep well?
It sounded like you snored something like that.
Yeah. All right. So Steven's done. We're done with Steven. Well, not really. He's got 2 more days, but he's never coming back this time, right? He's done. So we need a girl. We need a girl who can put up with me, make fun of me, but then deal with the guys in the chat room. We don't have any. We got Ann from.
What about using Tangeli? Isn't she available now that Steven's gone?
I am not spending $600 on a headless. If I'm going to spend money on a sex doll, it better come with head. A head, I mean. So, I don't know. I want a real woman. She could be ugly. Listen, I don't have a job requirement that you have to be beautiful. You could be ugly. How about that? I'm going to put that right on the Indeed.
Well, that does broaden the net a tad. Yeah. But also, but here's the rub. Ladies, whoever you are that replaces Steven, you have to be better at getting guests. Okay.
Yeah.
And you have to know how to fix StreamYard.
And you can't fall asleep. I mean, this is not. If you want to sleep late, just don't come on the show. But to come on the show and then sleep here and have people watch you sleep, that's not cool. I mean, that's basically what I'm doing. That's my role here, is to sleep on the show. So yeah, I don't know. I thought about. I was going to put in an extra effort and see if I could get Rob Bartlett and Jackie, because they have like history and stuff. But it's just, that was too much work. That was one more phone call. You think I got energy for 2 phone calls in one day?
No, that's
yeah.
I'm sorry, Steven just sent me a text. It says, LOL, on my way home, be on in 20.
Yeah, he's a quitter. He's a quitter and a shitter. And I don't know.
Joker and a choker.
Yeah.
Wheelchair stroker.
Yeah, but I run out of rhymes with quitter and here's what's the toughest 3-letter word to rhyme with? Rhyme scheme.
Oh, I don't know. I don't usually have problems with 3-letter words rhyming them. I'm trying to think.
I think my wife came up with one that was like impossible to rhyme, and I forget what it was though. But you would think that any 3-letter word you could find a rhyme for, right? What was the fucking one? No, because this dementia is just like getting worse and worse.
I'm gonna Google difficult 3-letter words to rhyme.
Do that. Google that. And while you're at it, Google me while you're down there. I got to look into this whole natural, because I'm not going to go to doctors. You know that. You know I'm not going to go to a doctor, right? Do you know that I'm not going to go to a doctor? In case I don't know if you know this about me, but I'm not going to go to a doctor. So I got natural cures for. I don't think there are any natural cures. Like maybe I could take a little ginseng or something for prostate cancer and colon cancer.
That's not what I said. Damn it! I said difficult. This is what I typed in. Difficult 3-letter words to rhyme. That's what I wrote in. And this is what it came back with. Here are some 3-letter words that rhyme with difficult.
Are there 3-letter words that rhyme with difficult? No.
Of course not. and these are the words that came up with. Outcalt, adult, anhalt, Aaronhalt, assault, await. No, that's awalt. Daywalt.
I'm not thinking Google is going to be good at this songwriting stuff, because you need to be able to rhyme scheme if you're going to be a songwriter. So maybe Google should not think about being a songwriter when it grows up, because rhyme scheming is like an essential skill, and they don't have.
I'm going to change it to 3-letter words that are hard to rhyme.
Yeah.
3-letter words.
It's a 3-letter word, and I forget. It wasn't dog because I thought dog might be it, but then there's log, right? Bog, sog,
smog. Yeah.
fog. Yeah, that's not it.
God, nod.
Yeah. Mad tread. Why am I even bothered? Because my wife put this in my head now. But so yeah, natural. While you're not doing that, I'm gonna natural cures for. Have you done colonoscopy? You do the colonoscopy is like every 6 months, or like you're supposed to, right?
No, mine. I'm so healthy that they said I can just wait forever, and now I'm also so old that I can wait for even longer.
I'm not sure. I don't want to talk to you. I want that doctor, the one who tells me I could wait forever. As long as you don't have cancer now. And how do I know? Well, I don't know. But for
Okay, I typed. Okay, I reworded it. I wrote 3-letter words that are hard to rhyme. That's what my search says, and this is what it comes back with. Here are some 3-letter words that are hard to rhyme. Okay, you ready? The first word is abio, which is 4 letters. The second word is sheen, which is 6 letters, SCHEIN. The third word is Providian, PROVIDIAN.
No
And
wonder they're hard to rhyme with 3 letters.
The fourth word is thoroughfare. Okay, THOROUGHFARE. Those are the top 4 3-letter words that are hard to rhyme.
I don't think Google should think about doing anything when it grows up. It should be because it seems to be quite stupid.
Now, the first 3-letter word they come up with is number 20 on the list, and it's dog.
Yeah, see, but it's not that hard.
No.
I don't think that was it. There are many words that have no rhyme in the English language. Orange. Yeah, I remember it telling me that orange has no.
Yeah, but I wrote when I was in elementary school, the teacher, when we were studying poetry in elementary school, and they talked about words that are difficult to rhyme or impossible to rhyme, and so I made a poem using all of those words.
Here's the words that. No, I'm not trusting Google because they think 3 letters, but none of these are 3 letters. But orange, silver, purple, month, ninth, pint. I think pint, giant. That's a work. It's a little bit of a stretch. Wolf, opus, dangerous. I don't know. Dangerous has to have a rhyme. I will work on that one. Marathon and discombobulate.
If we have learned nothing else from rap, you can rhyme anything with anything.
Yeah. Eminem could. It's a challenge for Eminem.
Some of those words on your list, I did not have on the list that I had when I was in elementary school. Not that the words are new, but I don't remember rhyming them.
Yeah, discombobulate is. I mean, Jesus, what does that even? What does that even really mean? Discombobulate.
But I think like when I was like orange, I used someone did like I broke it like no strange or no range or something like that.
Orange,
I can't remember.
I just make up words.
It also depends on what part of the country you're in when you say those words, because depending on where you are in the country, those words aren't pronounced that way.
All right, that's fine. You know, last night I was feeling like depressed, and I said, I need a laugh. What can I do? You know what? Maybe I'll reach out to Jackie and ask him if he come on the show and make me laugh and I was like, yeah, he's probably busy. I can't get Jackie on. You know how busy Jackie is. Do you realize?
I don't know how busy Jackie is, but if he's half as busy as his house is, then you're never going to get him on the show.
His house is like Scarlett Johansson. It's the highest paid house in the movie industry.
I mean, there's no way you're getting him on the show today.
I got Jackie. Believe it or not, he said, you know what? I got a few minutes off. I'll come on your show and I'll make it.
Fuck? You got? Oh man, you got clout. You got some pull.
I found the 5-minute window that he has available for us. So he's here now, ladies and gentlemen. The fabulous joke man, Jackie the joke man, who will be in, where will he be? Kalamazoo or Grand Rapids or somewhere in Michigan with our friend Slaptail. I think it's September 5th and 6th or something around there for a Q&A featuring his documentary it's a bio documentary. All right. That's what it is. Auto bio documentary. Yeah.
Biodegradable documentary.
And it's oddly enough, like they were trying to think of words that they could use for the title, and they came up with, get this, The Joke Man. How about that? He's here now. Good morning, The Joke Man. Make me laugh. I'm depressed.
That's not the name. Is this on?
Oh, it's just Joke Man, right? It's not The Joke Man. It's Joke Man.
Joke Man. Right.
Yeah, I fuck up a lot.
You host the whole thing. I get up at the crack of dawn.
Where's Dawn? I don't see her.
No, I was actually up at the 7. I just took such a long swim, so I'm feeling like $1 billion here.
Wow. Is it shitty out in because Long Island is long enough that you could have beautiful weather while I have shitty weather?
It's sprinkling, just slightly sprinkling, but it's beautiful. And swimming is great. There's a little sprinkle in your face.
I know. Yeah,
that sounds like some of the sex I've had in my past.
It always sounds like a little bukkake going, but that's.
Hey, so thank you for hooking me up with that guy, John Beavers. I'm going September 5th to Grand Rapids to the Wealthy Theater.
Wow.
Whoa.
But it turns out it's called the Wealthy Theater because it's on Wealthy Road. So I don't know.
Oh, damn.
But I don't know. That could mean it's in a really great section of town, or it could mean it's in a nasty section of town. It could be a goof. But he seems like a very nice guy now. How do you know that guy?
We used to be sexual partners.
Me too.
He how do I know? I don't know. GD, how do I know John Slaptail Beaverman?
Basically, we know John because of Stephen, I believe.
Yeah, Stephen, who's no longer with us. Stephen, I don't know if you know, Stephen passed away last night. In his wheelchair. He was in San Francisco or something that didn't know about the hills, and he was going too fast.
This is why Matt does not do improv, Jackie.
Good morning, GD. What is he talking about?
Stephen quit the show. Well, he didn't quit. He'll be here but tomorrow's his last day. He's going to work in a bank. So
he's taking a daytime job.
That's how we know Slaptail through Stephen. They did some comedy together at some point.
Oh. It's like that line from Sultans of Swing. He's got a daytime job. He's doing all right.
So John Beavers was a stand-up comic.
Yeah, he's in the chat room right now. He could speak from John. You want to come in and say hello?
I don't know anything about the guy except he's been a delight to work with.
Yeah, he's a former vet. He's a nurse practitioner, medical guy. And comic, and he does a running contribution to the program called Who the Fuck is Stephen Ortiz? And now I think we're going to have to end that because who the fuck is Stephen Ortiz?
Is Stephen from Michigan?
Stephen is from Alabama and Indiana. Somehow Indiana is close enough. You would know this better than me. That I didn't think Indiana was that close to Michigan that they can just commute for open mic nights and stuff.
It's just if he's from North Indiana, he's probably only a couple hours from Grand Rapids.
Yeah, but that couple of hours is a long way to go for like open mic nights or even.
I'm speaking of driving 2 hours. July 25th, I'm at the American Hotel in Freehold, New Jersey, which is a great. Number one, it's a great room with a great sound system. But I also am staying in that hotel. There's nothing better than being in the hotel.
It's an elevator ride to the gig. Yeah.
And I call them elevator gigs. You get on the elevator and you go to your gig and then grab 4 girls and go back to your room,
4. Wow. I used to do.
I'm talking about total since 1979.
Oh, okay. Are you taking Peter Bales? Are you doing that by yourself? Or you go?
No, I'm. The American Hotel. I don't know who's opening it. That's an Uncle Vinny gig, and he usually just gets an act, because I'm still at the point where people open for me, and then they can put on their introduction. This guy opened for Jackie Martling. I don't know if that ship still sails. As I sink lower into the west.
Let me tell you something. Most of the young comics today don't even have a bio like that at all. They have not. He's a comedian from, and that's it. That's it. That's all they have. I mean, you got to put a little more effort, even if you have to make shit up. I once opened for Henny Youngman. I'm sorry, that's stupid.
Yeah, who's going to check up on that? It just was posted yesterday. $17 million.
Wow.
So they sold the Friars Club.
Wow. 17 million seems cheap.
Yeah, I don't know how. I think they owed 14 million. I don't know any of the finances, but I don't know whether whoever bought it's just going to knock it down and put a high rise, or whether they're going to keep the building, or it'd be nice if it was somebody rich that bought it and kept the Friars going, but nobody cares. There's no history anymore. There's no,
Is there a lot of land? Is it enough of it?
No. Not only is there no land, they sold the rights above it. So.
Because I was wondering if they could keep like part of the Friars Club.
No. It's a tiny, it's a tiny little brown. It's actually it was a huge individual residence, and it's like a monastery. And it really is like a monastery in there. And it's just, I loved it. But, that ship sailed.
50, yeah.
So you wanted to laugh. Somebody said something last night that reminded me of a joke that Jerry Cooney told me. The guy goes to the doctor, and the doctor says, well, my friend, it does not look good. You haven't got long left. And he said, I suggest you take 3 mud baths every day. And the guy says, will the mud baths make me live longer? And the doctor says, no, but it'll get you used to the dirt. That is a dark joke, man.
But that's where I'm at. I kind of started with that.
What's the matter with you?
He's mad. What else would you expect?
That's the main thing. But I think, listen, John, the nurse practitioner, is going to tell me to go to a doctor. He's in the. I don't want to go to a doctor, but I get up 100 times a night to pee. I know my prostate is inflamed. I don't think I have prostate cancer because I would be feeling pain.
Wait, how old are you?
66.
Because at some point, I got to where I was getting up 3 and 4 times a night to pee, and I thought, well, I'm stuck like this for the rest of my life. And then all of a sudden, it stopped.
Wow!
It'll just stop. It's just some kind of phase or something. Now I get up, 5 o'clock in the morning. I'll wake up and I'll go in and pee, but it's not constantly all night anymore. Which is thank God.
My problem is I had my stepdaughter and her fiance move in, and every time I wake up with this overwhelming, I gotta pee. Somebody's in the one bathroom that we have in this house. We don't have.
I finally learned how to pray. I finally had a reason to pray, and my reason to pray is when I'm at a restaurant and I'm done eating. And I got to go. And I just pray that when I go into the men's room, the one stupid stall is not occupied, because I've got, I'm on a countdown,
Yeah.
And, I twice I had to go to the bathroom. I went to Gallagher's, and my friend Lee, we get together and he buys me dinner at Gallagher's a couple times a year. His great grandfather was Eddie Cantor.
Wow, the jazz singer.
No, that was Al Jolson.
But what? Oh, yeah, that's right. But what I thought it was based on because that is a canter. Not never mind. I'm an idiot.
Right. And no, I'm at a point where now I understand your mistakes. And and Eddie Cantor had 6 daughters. By all accounts, he was one of the biggest pricks in show business. But of course, depends on who you talk to.
Yeah.
And he had 6 daughters, and Lee's grandfather married one of Eddie Cantor's daughters. And Lee's grandfather was one of the really well-known songwriters. He wrote I'm in the mood for love. I can't give you anything but love, baby. Sunny side of the street. I mean, so Lee's job in life is to place those songs, you know. Like they get placed in an ad, they get $100,000. You know, they have 2 songs. His grandfather has 2 songs in Jersey Boys.
Wow.
You know, because those are the 2 songs that Frankie Valli sings to the mobster to kind of calm him down, like the girl used to sing to Mighty Joe Young.
Yeah.
Remember she'd play Beautiful Dreamer on the piano, or it would calm down the monkey.
Yeah.
The ape, whatever he was.
There's a bit in Piscopo's first special. I don't know how many specials Piscopo had. Piscopo had a special when he was first on Saturday Night Live where he's a doo-wop singer at a mob thing. Tony DeNono is the mob boss, and DeNono, and they get pissed at him, and then he's singing he's doing like the Mighty Joe Young thing to placate Tony DeNono. Oh, look, Steven the sitcom is here. He's still alive. I thought he fell down a hill in San Francisco, even though he's never been to San Francisco.
That's fine.
I have a couple of things I really gotta know from you. First of all,
hi, Steven.
Good morning, Jackie. How are you, buddy?
Steven, I'll be all right.
Have you seen the Steven sex doll thing? Because we're gonna retire that tomorrow. Tomorrow's his last day, so we're gonna retire his sex doll thing. Steven sponsors a sex doll, or it's sponsored by Tantally, a sex doll that has no head, and I can't understand why that is part of the design. No head. If you're gonna be like that crazy that you need to fuck a fake woman, wouldn't you want a head on it?
Down on overhead. That's why.
I would only want the head.
That's it.
I mean, yeah. I guess it's maybe just from guys that just don't want to hear the woman bitch afterwards.
Well, yeah, she doesn't talk. She doesn't talk, and that's that's what makes her the perfect woman.
Maybe it's just maybe they have just the side of the head just makes them go, oh God, what is she's gonna complain about something.
So Steven is actually
you guys aren't women haters, are you? You sound
no. Only the ones that talk.
Jesus.
No, I'm kidding.
Terrible.
I love women. Don't tell my wife that. But so the real reason Steven is leaving the program is because he's like making up this story about going to a bank. He's an abject failure at booking porn stars. Now I gave him one real assignment since he's been here since 1934, and that is to book some porn stars, and he can't do it. So the question I have for you: whatever happened to that chick?
Book porn stars to be
be a guest on here. We want to talk to some porn stars.
Wait a minute, how did we get the black cat woman?
I did. I booked her. She's my friend. She's a follower on Instagram. She was
Pepper Cat. That's her name, Pepper Cat, right?
Yeah. Okay. Black Cat Pepper. But whatever happened to that girl who played Jenna Jameson in Private Parts? That was. Did you ever hear from her? Because I've asked her to
hold on. My beautiful girlfriend Barbara just delivered me another cup of tea. She's so good.
She is now that's the kind of woman I would love. A woman who brings your tea into you, or my coffee into you, or something.
She brought you some eggs and spinach, and you bitched for
an hour.
Spinach was the part I was bitching.
Did you have to cook it?
That takes more work. That takes more work than tea, Matt.
Do you know that story about the guy whose wife got in a terrible car accident?
No.
And they call him into the hospital, and doc comes out and says, "Listen, she's in terrible shape. she's completely paralyzed. You know, arms, legs, neck, everything. You're gonna have to wait on her hand and foot for the rest of her life. You're gonna have to take her to the bathroom and wipe her and do everything for her. She's completely unable to do anything to take care of herself. And the guy's like, Doc, my God, that's so horrible. And the doctor says, I'm just fucking with you. She's dead.
All right. See, it has a happy ending.
That's awesome. Yeah, there you go.
That story has a happy ending. I love it. But you know, when was Jenna Jameson the only real porn star that came on? No, you had other porn stars on Howard, right? When you were there,
lots of them. Wow, there's a whole story that I never even tell. That I still can't tell. But this woman came on, Alicia Klass, Klass. Her and another girl. They just came, and Gary came. He said, "Hey, Howard, the girl downstairs, the two girls are kind of hot. They're porn stars." And this girl says she's the queen of anal sex. and Howard just dropped whatever guests we had, and the girls came up. And this girl, pulled the pants down. And she had the most remarkably clean, pink, lovely asshole. I mean, and she was beautiful. And you can Google her. But I had met her. She came to one of my shows and came on stage at the Riviera to play Stump the Joke Man. And her name was Alicia Pieri, if you Google it. But her name's Alicia Klass, Klass. And she was married to a guy, I swear this is his name, called Seymour Butts. Did you ever hear that guy?
That was a joke when I was in the elementary school.
Yeah, no, of course it was, but that was his porn name. I'm not making a joke.
Wow.
And they're long divorced, I think. But and I actually become friends with the girl Maria Merlino, who in real life was the girl that came up on the Stern Show and got naked.
Yeah, I asked her like 3 times.
I wasn't there, but that really happened. But Jenna played her in the movie, and Jenna was great. I was in that. They put me in that scene for no reason. So I was sitting there next to Howard.
How much did you have to pay to get in that scene?
For 3 days we sat there with naked Jenna Jameson.
3 days.
Yeah, they rolled around the floor and stretched everything out. As she's taking off her clothes, I'm sitting there folding them and putting them in a little pile. It was a great scene. It was really fun. She came on the show with her father. And her father said it's so great because Jenna, brings home these amazing girls and I get to fuck them all. And like, we're sitting there just drooling, I mean, he wasn't 1,000 years old. She was probably 25 and he was probably 45. And then they left. And just after they left, I said, geez, Howard, I got a great idea.
Oh, no.
Why don't you put up pictures of 3 vaginas and have one of them be Jenna's and see if he can pick out hers, which is, of course, totally absurd. Yeah. And I was like, go get him. Go, Gary. Go get him. And Gary ran and got him, and they came back. And we showed her father pictures of 3 snatches, and he picked out Jenna's just by the law of he chose. It was so, I can't even, it's just so wrong. And we were howling. And I'm sure that must be on. They're all on YouTube now, right? All those shows.
Oh yeah, they are. I don't know all of them, but they're to a great degree. Yeah, sure they are.
But but that was early on. That might have been before the E channel, but still, people should remember that.
Yeah. Can I ask a question about this? Where did you get the photographs?
I think just from porn magazines.
The internet was around then, yeah. Oh, you could just
no. This was before the internet. That's a good question. I'm sure just out of magazines. This was
I just
I think that's come the joke man.
No, I judge because the internet happened in like '94.
Yeah, well, most people, was starting to get on it in '94 with the
right.
disc, the AOL disc.
So I don't think we would have had access before, and she came on with her father at the other studio, and I think we changed studios before the internet happened. In fact, I know it because I know we were in the new studio when I was the first guy on the internet.
Well, now I'm curious because to CD's point, Gary, and I know you don't talk to Gary much, but Gary must have had a stack because to be able to pick out Jenna Jameson's vagina. I mean, I could see he got a couple of pictures of vaginas in a penthouse or whatever, but to be able to find Jenna Jameson's and two others that look similar enough to put
they all look alike. God, they're all the same. It's just it was a goof. He might have.
Well, they don't look in a lineup. Some are 5'4", some are, I don't know, whatever.
No, he just the actual snatches.
Yeah,
is what he had.
That'd
be interesting to look up.
Yeah,
but her father picked it out. We just went wild. It was so wrong.
Maybe we can just give him the benefit of the doubt instead of thinking that he's gross. Maybe it just looked like his wife's,
like Hereditary.
Hereditary, maybe she just looks like her mom.
It wasn't in any way to imply that he had been with her.
Right.
If he's banging her girlfriend, she might have been lying next.
Right.
Well, who knows?
Stephen has just showed us his main real skill that he has acquired in his experience, which is coming up with an excuse for why you could spot a little girl's vagina.
He wasn't a little girl.
I never said that. We were talking about Jenna Jameson.
No, yeah. Whatever.
Yeah, not.
He's always ready with the excuse.
Yeah, we're talking about Jenna Jameson, not Tracy Lords.
Yeah. Oh, well, yeah, but this is this guy's daughter, so whatever.
No, I agree with Stephen. It could be hereditary. It's like she has her mom's eyes.
Fine. I can just see that at the house. Oh, she looks just like you. She got your eyes and your wife's.
She has your eyes. She has your eyes and your lips.
So you're talking about
anything you ever say, Stephen. You can retire now.
Did you really try to book some porn stars on here?
I reached out to a bunch and none of them responded.
And I think I got one who's a phony because now she's asking for money. Basically, I was telling them, putting out a letter there that Stephen is dying wishes, like a make-a-wish thing. His dying wish is to meet these porn stars. And one of them, Riley Reed, said she would come on the program, but now she's asking for money. I don't think it's her.
Don't they all perform at clubs? Wouldn't this help them to come on here? What am I missing?
I would think so. I've had one on here. Her real name is Candace Horback. She changed it to Eva Lavia or Lovia. Lovia is her point.
Who you ask about this is Grillo. Because Grillo knows a lot of those chicks. And my friend, I'll put you in touch with my friend Adam, who's always having all these different parties at these different strip clubs, and he's always trying to get the word out. I'm sure you could get any of those girls. I'll do that right away.
Wow.
Do you know about Prince Ivan?
No.
Do you know who that is?
No.
Ivan with the castle out in Suffolk.
Oh, the castle. Yeah. Out in Southampton. Is that what you're talking about? The castle? Yeah. I don't know his name.
I've been to a couple parties out there. He's an amazing character. His Sir Ivan, his I don't know, his father invented some kind of crazy, wonderful thing, and he inherited like millions. And I think his father came out of the Holocaust. He's a whole boy. He'd be a good guy to have on the radio. I don't know what he does.
Yeah,
he does.
Speaking of Grillo
stuff.
I think Grillo's mad at me because he had posted stuff about Howard in blackface with George Jefferson there. And I just said something like, this is not news, Steve. This is like very well-known stuff. You're trying to. I mean, I understand you have a grudge with Howard, but you got nobody's finding this like newsworthy, and I think he got mad at me over that. I was just, you're bringing up a 10-year-old. It's when Trump first started running, and the people who were for Trump were bringing out the Howard and blackface stuff to smear Howard because he was against Trump. That was that big then, but to bring it up like 2 months ago, I was like, what's the point of this? Everybody has seen this 1,000 times.
We taped that for the, I think for the 1993 New Year's Eve show. And it was Howard dressed, I think Howard was Ted Danson.
Yeah,
and Sherman Hemsley was Whoopi or vice versa. I know we screwed the whole thing around. And Sherman Hemsley was so much fun. And I was literally sitting at their feet writing the most horrible jokes with the N-word in it and everything. And Sherman was falling off his chair screaming. And we have just the more outrageous we got. I still can't believe that went on the air. I don't know if it still exists.
The thing I would be interested in the outtakes, or the stuff that didn't make it on the air. It has to be
any outtakes. It all went. It all went. And once I saw the green light to do anything, I was, just going nuts, and they were just having so much fun, and I'm sure it was as offensive as hell, but it it was the old thing. I guess. We must have thought we had a little bit of a license because Sherman Hemsley was laughing his ass off, and he's, raving black homosexual. And then we were just fucking around and having just the time of a lifetime. Wow. But so was he, so.
I didn't know he was a homosexual.
I didn't know he was black. Damn.
Oh, come on. You could tell. You could tell. He brought a bucket of fried chicken with him everywhere he went. Come on.
Jesus Christ.
I know.
No,
that's the fucking lamest.
I was sitting at his feet, and I saw the head of his cock sticking out of his pant leg. So.
Whoa.
And you were wearing long trousers?
So you know my history with the porn stars?
No.
My first album, my LP, I sent it to 1,000 different places and got no response. One place in North Carolina was a small soft porn catalog, where you could buy,
Fredericks of North Carolina, yeah,
vibrators and stuff. And it was Adam and Eve. Adam and Eve was just a tiny little shop.
Wow.
In North Carolina. And years later, I still have the ad. It actually says available LP or 8-track. It was even before cassettes. And years later, this guy, I'll think of his name, was working for Adam and Eve. And he had leased one of my videos for the Playboy channel. And my videotape, Who Farted, I Smelt It, was 2 hours long. And he aired an hour of it at a time on the Playboy. And this is in the very beginning. The Playboy channel had virtually no programming. And I don't know if you remember the early days of cable, when stations would start, a lot of them had no programming. Like I did one show with Bobby Flay for the Food Network. Yeah. And they played it almost every day because they had, and they kept calling Stern Show and goofing on me. Oh, I saw Jackie with Bobby Flay, and the deal I had with him was in between each course I got to plug my stuff. And of course, I never heard the end of that. So the Playboy channel had, didn't have much programming. And I got so many people pissed off at me because these guys would, go to a hotel room like a businessman, and they pay $5 or something to watch 2 hours of the Playboy channel. And instead of seeing naked girls, they're watching me tell dirty jokes, and they were so pissed off. So years,
except for one guy, going, "Come on, Jackie, I'm almost there."
Turns it on.
Tell that joke about the dead wife again.
Turns it on. He's like, "Well, this isn't my most proudest tug, but here we go."
There's so many. There was a guy who was a friend of Rascals. I taped so much stuff at Rascals Comedy Club in West Orange, New Jersey, and there was a guy that used to come to a lot of shows who was a wine and champagne salesman. And Mark, the owner, said, "Look, I'm going to put my friend Glenn in the front. You know, he's a little bit of a wild man, but he's a real good. We're real good customers." So this guy Glenn Mendez, he's sitting right in the front. You know, there were like banquet tables there, and he's sitting right in the front, and he heckles me here and there. You know, and so he heckled me, and then I shut him down. He heckled me, and I shut him down. But it happened a few times. And when we went in to edit the show, it's brand new. It's the first time we were like kids in a candy shop. Me and Nancy are in a video studio, and they're showing us how they can manipulate the different tapes. And, you know, the way Who Farted was made, it was like a billion different jokes individually. It's just so much fun. And we're sitting there, and here's this guy, Glenn Mendez, heckles me a couple times. And we had them, the guy put the word dick in that old Coney Island type. You ever been to one of these bars where they have stuff in Coney Island type letters? Yeah. And it said the word dick. And underneath, there was a finger, you know, like a cartoon finger. It said there was a cartoon finger, and it said dick. And it came, and he's sitting down. I'm on stage. This is taken from the right-hand side of the stage. I'm on stage, and he's in front of the table. And after he heckles me, I say something to him. The finger comes flying across the screen, and they had the sound effect of a car stopping. They're like, and it stops right by him with the word dick, with the finger pointing at him, which was so funny.
That's awesome.
And then the thing, I don't know anything what's going to happen. The thing aired on the Playboy channel, and Gary comes in and says, "Exactly, this guy, got to call him back. He sounds pretty pissed off." And after the show, I called him up, and he's incensed because he's a wine salesman and a champagne salesman, and he travels. And of course, a lot of the people he works with or talks to, they're all traveling salesmen too. And they're all horny bastards that stay in hotel rooms and get the Playboy channel. And he got, 25 calls. "Hello, Dick. Is this you, Dick? How you doing, Dick?" And he was incensed. In 10 minutes, I had him convinced how great that was and what great cocktail conversation and how much wine he's going to sell just from the fun of that. For the last 40 years, he's been bringing me free booze.
Wow.
He used to bring it to my hotel apartment. He'd come to gigs. You know, I don't drink anymore.
You would never have to. I would see the value of that. Maybe this guy was just a little slow, but you wouldn't have to explain that to me. That's a moment that you can. That's going to be read at your eulogy. Remember this?
Right, but he was, he was fresh from getting all the phone calls because the Playboy channel was kind of brand new, and it was just classic. So
to your point earlier, they played it over and over and over again. Like,
you wouldn't believe how many times.
I know. It was like MTV. They had 40 videos when they first started, and that was it. And basically, that's all you would see over and over and over again. Or a lot of Art Bell I had on. Art Bell, not the Art Bell, the sci-fi guy, the guy who started Comedy Central. And basically, when Comedy Central, there was Ha and Comedy Central, and they both were starving for content, so they were playing the same shit 24/7. Like
I did a show with them called Short Attention Span Theater. Do you remember that? It was like a 10-minute interview show, and I went on with Joe Bolster. And if you remember, stop me if this is a story I told you already.
No, you haven't told us.
If you had an 800 number, like to sell something, like 1-800 Napo CD. Every time somebody called that number, it cost you money.
Right.
That's the way it was set up back then. But on the premise, you're going to make sales, right? So I go on the show, and they asked me, "What are you promoting?" And I'm, what do I got to promote? This is when it was either or comedy. This is when there were two different things, because Rodney Dangerfield's daughter, Melanie Roy, worked at one of those stations. It played a lot of my fat jokes and stuff. So I go on the short attention span theater and I tell them to plug 516-922 wine. And the whole time I'm on, they ran chyrons. Call Jackie's joke line 1-800-922-wine. And I got home and Nancy said, "Wow, some guy called up and he's really pissed off." And I called the guy. He lived in California and he had a business that sold raincoats and wet weather gear and stuff and umbrellas. And his phone number was 1-800-922-WIND, WIND, which is the same number. And he was, because he got so many calls and he had to pay for all the calls. And I said, "Man, I'm really sorry." But I called up whatever the station, they didn't have anybody working. They didn't have any organization to get somebody to go back and re-edit a little tiny show. And of course it played every hour. So this guy's getting mad. Oh, it's almost like I'm squashing it into his face. It's so fucking funny. It was just wonderful.
I was one of the editors they used. I know what you're talking about, because basically we were overwhelmed because Cablevision, which and HBO and all that, Larry. Basically, we started so many companies that were offering content at that time that it was just there were way too many products for the 3 or 4 editors that I had working for me, and I was so we just couldn't. There was nobody to work on that stuff.
Yeah, it was the Wild West back then. It was crazy.
Yeah.
So so meanwhile, this guy, the guy that leased my video for the Playboy channel, winds up working for Adam and Eve, which by this time is a city block in Los Angeles. It's a huge soft porn production. It became, I don't know if it's still around, but it was monstrous. And he hired me to come out, and they were going to have a lingerie show where they hold up lingerie and people, like QVC or something. And I'm going to sit there with a pretty girl and she's going to sell lingerie and I'm going to make snide comments. And this guy was just such a great guy and he paid me a lot of money. He's going to fly me out and we make a deal. And it was like $5,000 or $10,000, whatever it was. It was so much money for back then. It was crazy, right? So I go, he hired me, but it didn't happen for like 6 months. And by the time I got to go do the show had morphed into, there were lesbians in each of the 4 corners of a studio. And the female host, who was an ex-penthouse girl, and me would walk around and the callers would say what they want the girls to do.
Wow.
And the girls would fool around. And when it got time to go take a station break, I swear to God, the director had a cue card and it said, "Come." And when he held it up, that meant for the girls to get off and then they could go to commercial, which is so funny. So it got done.
I got to get one for this show.
I said, you got to give me that cue card. And he gave it to me. And I had all the porn stars that were in the show sign it. And I mean, like 10 or 20 years later, I went to like an AVN show or something like that. And it's still the same people. It was so many of the same girls. They're like, they were 20 and now they're 50 or 40. Look, but look.
Oh, wow. Wow.
That's the actual cue card.
Damn.
And you can't see, but it's all autographed.
I can see some of the signatures. Yeah.
And that was one of earlier. GD was Googling 3-letter words that are tough to rhyme. Cum is not that difficult to rhyme.
No. You can do that. Even you can do that.
Yeah, I don't know about but Wow. So yeah, I just wanted to talk to porn stars because I did get. I had a couple. I had a penthouse pet. I had a legitimate porn star. I never asked the questions that I really want to ask. Like, did you ever have? Like, I know sometimes they go on the set and they don't know who's going to be on set. Now, most of the time they pre-screen it, but having to have sex with a guy who you just didn't like or any of that, all those kind of things. I'm curious about that, like how you get.
Of course, but of course, it's like people that are acting in a sitcom. There's going to be actors in the sitcom you don't like. I'm sure there were guys that, especially I'm sure these guys with 14-inch peckers probably had some kind of ego, whether not, it's funny,
Also,
whenever I fart,
hurts.
my girlfriend says, "Did you fluff? Did you fluff?" She always says, "Did you fluff?" And she said it the other day when her brother was here, and he said, "Do you know what you're saying?" Because I never said it to her. Because a fluffer is the girl that gives the guy a hard on before the scene. She stays and plays with his dick, so he doesn't start from scratch, so to speak.
Wow.
And she had no idea. But
yeah,
that would really be fun. That's the kind of porn movie you should make, is where you see the girl doing that before the, you know what I mean? The behind the scenes
those are the questions I want to ask. Like, anybody ever fart or here you go. You can see all the autographs there. Wow, lots of people.
Isn't that fun?
Yeah.
Isn't that crazy? What a great story.
Yeah.
And
who would believe that story if I didn't have?
And you're advertising Staples and Q-tips in that picture.
Jesus.
I'm putting that on eBay today.
Emmy Lynn Baxter was a very early. She was kind of a soft porn actress, and she came on the show very early. She was a huge fan of Howard's, and she was, so pretty. And then they did an article for me in Penthouse about me in Penthouse, and I said, "Wouldn't it be fun? Like, ask me a question, and after each of my answers, why don't we put a dirty joke?" And they said, "Oh, that's fun." So we did that, and then the response was so good they had me do the Penthouse joke page for like 20 years. And the very first Penthouse joke page I did, they actually put it on the back of the centerfold, like Playboy does. They never did it again, but just the first one. And Amy Lynn Baxter was the centerfold. So if you ripped out that centerfold from Penthouse and held up my jokes, you could see Amy Lynn's pussy behind my joke.
I don't know. I got to call her dad and see if he recognizes it.
I was gonna say, do you think her dad would recognize it, or?
Let's talk about a ripoff. Let's talk about this is Slaptail, who you're going to be with in Michigan. He says, let's talk about what a ripoff it is to go see Steven at his crap club that charges more fees than Ticketmaster. Fat fuck.
Pick the fucking prices, dickhead.
Yeah, but you could be like Bruce.
Hold on, is this the guy I'm working with? He's such a nice guy and so polite and a nice Midwest
he's
guy.
nice to everyone, Jackie. He's nice to everyone with the exception of Steven.
Yeah, Steven is his pet little peeve or whatever. But
we have a hate love relationship.
Is there a Ticketmaster thing? I mean, there's somebody scalping to see you. I can't imagine like people. No offense, but I can't imagine people scalping tickets to see you. What is he talking about? Like price gouging on tickets to see Steven?
Oh, Summit City Comedy Club is selling the tickets for $10, but apparently there's a bunch of fees and shit on the back end of it. I didn't know about them.
Fees?
Yeah.
Well, what club? Where?
Summit City Comedy Club, Fort Wayne, Indiana.
Fort Wayne.
That was my stomping grounds. Is that where you're from?
I'm actually from South Bend, but I lived in Fort Wayne, and I kind of go back and forth.
Do you know? So it's way too long ago. I used to drive all the way out there to do a TV show, and the guy had a comedy club and a TV show, called
Snickers
Night. Oh, it was Kevin Ferguson Night Shift. Did you ever hear that comedy program?
I've heard of
Night
it, yep.
Shift, and he was a great guy. And I drive all the way out there, and there's always a lot of girls and a lot of fun, man. But that's a
that's what I wanted to ask you about the Michigan thing. Are you gonna are you gonna drive yourself out there, kind of reminiscing about and bring a Fender Rhodes in your trunk and your mom in the back?
It actually went through my mind to take the cruise for nostalgia reasons, but a week or two before, my whole family's going to Outer Banks, North Carolina, and I'm driving there, and that's like 10 hours either way.
Wow.
So I'll think I'll have my fill of driving. And when John asked me to do the show, I was kind of on the fence, and then I looked, and there's a direct flight from LaGuardia to Grand Rapids, and I was like,
perfect.
Holy shit, I'll do that. I thought it was going to take 10 flights to get to Grand Rapids.
Right. Yeah.
So,
well, I hope to see you there, Jackie. I plan on being there. So,
yeah.
Well, there's tickets on Ticketmaster.
Yeah, and the fee is reasonable for a person who works in a bank.
There's a lot of back end fees.
Yeah.
If you want to sit down, that's extra.
Well, what if I bring my own chair? What if I bring my own chair? If I bring my own chair, can I just come in? I mean, I'm not going to take up any real estate. I mean,
didn't even realize what I was saying.
Yeah, no, that's fine. He's here for the abuse. That's his purpose on this program.
That's his love language.
We gotta find somebody else to take his place to be the abused one. I got some things I need to. I don't know what, because Doug Stanhope just put out lost footage of a Mitch Hedberg special pilot that he's putting together. Now I know Hedberg did Howard often. He did it at least 4 or 5 times. Were you still there when Hedberg was?
No, I didn't. I don't know anything of that guy.
Wow. So
it had to be after 2001.
I think it would no, because it was in the 90s, because it was Time magazine had anointed Hedberg the next Seinfeld in 1998 and put him on the cover. Is this the next Seinfeld? Which both Seinfeld
he
and
must
him
have not made an impression on me, but that's weird because by all accounts, I never go back and look up and listen to these people, which I should, but I usually can remember any of that,
Yeah. So I'm just curious because I know that Howard was asking him about that comparison. He was uncomfortable with it, and Seinfeld hated it. Like, how dare you call that guy me? He was very a cross between like a stoner type of personality and a Stephen Wright, like one-liners that made you kind of think a lot about stupid stuff.
Oh, I thought he wasn't dark.
No, he was all really, really one-liners about things like, I did David Letterman 5 times, and nobody knows me from that show. More people have seen me at the store. This next comic, you might have seen this next comic at the store. Hell yes, I did. He likes cereal. That kind of.
Oh, that's and that's funny. That's cool.
Yeah.
So,
but
I gotta look this character up.
So Fox was looking. This was at the height of Seinfeld, or towards the end of Seinfeld's run, and he was about to kind of end his run, or they had inklings that he was, and Fox was looking to cash in on that and wanted a younger, hipper version of Seinfeld so they could do a show on. They saw Hedberg at Montreal Comedy Festival and dubbed him the next Seinfeld. It was in Time magazine, but it wasn't appropriate at all because he wasn't made for television. He was it was dirty.
They were trying to pick up on passing the baton to keep the ball rolling.
Right.
So
he was barely made for stand-up. I mean, he had such bad stage fright, he couldn't even keep his eyes open half the time.
Right. Yeah. And extreme heroin addict. I mean, Artie hung out with them, and Geraldo hung out with them to keep him sober. But they said one time they were on getting on a plane, and his leg was full of gangrene because he kept shooting in the same fucking hole all the time. Like, wow.
Yeah. Oh.
Yeah. But so that led me down. So this footage is out, and I'm looking at it, and it's really weird because the Fox deal must have fell through, and they were doing something for MTV. But Mitch was 37 years old at the time, and like the MTV crowd was still 19, 20 in the late 90s there, so it wasn't a good match anyway. But they did this pilot, and I guess it had been missing until like last month or something. It's out there now. It's really weird to watch. But that led me down this rabbit hole of Seinfeld talking about comedians he hates. And there is this whole YouTube, like mini industry of stars and who the 5 people they hate in the business. Are you familiar with any of those kind of?
No, I don't like that trash shit,
Yeah.
like, and then people start, the more famous somebody you hate, the more chance somebody's going to spread it around. That's all that crap.
Yeah.
No, I don't know anything. It's hard enough. If I look at once in a while, I look to see what the reviews are for like my book or my special, and it stays with you, and it's horrible. Jackie didn't write this book. He obviously had somebody write it for him. It didn't make any sense. And then the next review was, wow, this is the funniest thing that,
Wow.
There's some people you could tell just sit down to write something crappy. Would know what was I was looking, an old friend passed away. A real interesting guy. This is somebody you should Google, Carl Tinker West. And he was Bruce Springsteen's first manager. And he passed them on to Mike Appel, I think.
Yeah, Mike Appel.
This guy Tinker actually drove Springsteen and the band. They were called Steel Mill, and actually drove them to San Francisco and told them not to sign with Bill Graham because he'd never be heard from again. And it's funny because I've known Tinker forever. And when I met him and I'm on the show, I said he was Springsteen's first manager, and they're all like, "You're out of your mind. Mike Appel's Springsteen's manager. You're a jerk. You're old with your stories." But then, the internet literally blossomed. There was like this much information, and then there was this much. And now if you go on there, you can find the afternoons that Springsteen's band rehearsed in Tinker's garage. I mean, Springsteen slept there for a whole summer. So he passed away, but he was the guy that built the jetty, my float. My first float got destroyed and went away. And then Nancy commissioned him to build a dock, a float. And he built it in Jersey. And he built that and a huge lobster cooker. And they all came and delivered it on a huge flatbed truck and backed it down. And everybody I knew, all the guys from the show and the fringe people, we had to get the thing from the truck to the water. And it was just such a free-for-all and so much fun. And after that, I fed everybody lobsters at a big drunken fest. But it's posted on the internet. It's like you can watch the whole thing. It's like, I think it's Jetty launch 1994, Martling, whatever you do. But after he just passed away, and this girl that took a lot of the video, this great girl, Lynn, her and her husband were just, really great people. And she has to speak at his memorial. And she asked me, do you know when the float, when they delivered the float to your house? So I went and I looked, and just for the hell of it, I start looking at the comments under this 50-minute video, which if you're a Stern fan, it's a wet dream because it's all the guys, not Howard and Robin, but, and underneath, like, look at Jackie. He forces all of his friends to help him load the dock into the, like completely twist the entire, and it stays with you.
Yeah.
Some asshole writes something like, it's like when you walk out after a show, somebody said, boy, you really sucked. 100 people could have told you were great. And all the way home, all you can hear is that guy saying,
Absolutely.
Really sucks,
I totally
Jackie,
get
you're
that.
such a bastard. You forced them to do that, and then you force fed them lobster.
Yeah.
You should,
Son of a
Howard would twist that on the air. Like people would say, yeah, Jackie was down swimming and we're all starving. And meanwhile, I'm swimming on the 4th of July and then I'm coming up and cooking lobster. I'm going to enjoy my beach. I'm not having a party to the exclusion of myself, but it was always such a fun war.
I don't know if you showed me, but I've seen videos of your 4th of July parties, and I'm just I think this is the first time I been made aware that Howard and Robin didn't come to your parties. But I mean,
no, he came to he came to one of them, and one of the parties was called Quivers a Party to help her celebrate her book, and they made her huge cake with 2 huge brown knockers. It was hysterical. And the garage was still there and the garage doors were open. There was a band in there. And then we had we had Fred stock, and it was a celebration for Fred. And that was another, free for all party, like lobsters and craziness and booze. And well, we had so much fun. And then, Howard would try and make fun and break our balls. And meanwhile, 100 people had the time of their lives, So
yeah.
It's fine that he twisted it, because everybody that worked at, on the show knew better,
Yeah, definitely the negativity will come out on the internet far before anybody leaves anything positive. The people who feel negative are more inclined to write a book where a positive thing will be 1 word or 2 words at best, if they even get motivated to write anything. But all these comedy feuds were, for me, very interesting to look back on, because there was a lot of them were public, like Seinfeld and Goldthwait, and Seinfeld had a couple. Oh, this was one
you
that
don't mean Seinfeld. You mean Kinison and Goldthwait.
No, Seinfeld and Goldthwait. They hate each other. Apparently, it started by Goldthwait saying that it's something about Seinfeld in a Playboy interview, and then Seinfeld on Coffee. Well, comedians in cars getting coffee was saying, "I hate that fucking guy because I can do comedy and he can't. All he's got is that silly voice," and it just kind of blew up from there. And now it's
I never heard anything. That doesn't sound like Jerry.
I know.
Sound like
the other one.
That's not a sandbox he plays in. That to the best of my knowledge.
Apparently now he does, according to this video. Kathy Griffin, who was on his show a bunch of times. This is the one that really got me, because Kathy Griffin, when she is that her name, Kathy Griffin? The redhead. She was on his show and she was playing a part that was based on a real life interaction that they had. Like she was encouraged to do stand up and say Jerry Seinfeld is the devil was her whole act. And apparently that's what was based on reality. And to Seinfeld's credit, he gave her a position on his show to do that.
And that was a good show. It was good.
Yeah, that was great. But then I went down this rabbit hole of all these comedians, and I never realized.
Wait, but that didn't continue. He didn't have a problem with her.
According to the video I watched yesterday, yeah, he still does. But who knows?
Really?
And he does seem a little angry. The side of Seinfeld you don't normally ever see, where he's just kind of letting it all fly. It's like, I don't need to be careful anymore. I'm fucking richer than God. I can say whatever I want now. So there's all that stuff. But yeah, it's just surprising to see how many comedy feuds there are, because I always thought that comedy was basically not that backbiting.
Matt, are you surprised that there's feuds like that, or that people that people that you're familiar with, the upper echelon or whatever, are feuding?
I'm surprised that they make it public. Okay. Yeah, that they make it public like that, because I could see if you had
that shit is always going to, a million years ago, I don't know, it was an interview or something, but Groucho said, I never thought George Burns was much of a talent.
Whoa.
And I think they feuded for like 20 or 30 years. Like, because, if you look at it, it's like looking at Bud Abbott, what's he doing? But what he's doing is everything. Like, man, George, just stood there with a stupid cigar and said a few stupid things. But he was compelling and funny and lovable. And, so whether Groucho was fucking around or anything, but that, I never went back and Googled that. But,
yeah. Those old show business. What?
Yeah, but that wasn't one of those. That wasn't a show business. Be funny, Jack Benny and Jackie Leonard. That was a whole.
Right. It was more like
feud for showbiz.
More like Bing Crosby and Jerry Lewis. Bing really hated Jerry Lewis. That's funny to me because he was afraid that Jerry Lewis was going to rip his toupee off.
I have heard that. A lot of people had a lot of problems with Jerry Lewis.
Yeah.
They found that movie surfaced. I don't know if it made it to the internet, but that movie that was buried for so long.
The clown.
The day the laughter died. Yeah. He played a clown leading the children into the gas chamber.
Right.
I've never seen it. Harry Shearer has seen it. And he said,
I want to see it because I have a feeling, Dice Clay did an hour special he taped during the daytime in the Comedy Store called The Day the Laughter Died. Jerry Lewis's movie was The Day the Clown Died. The Day the Clown Cried, I think it was.
Whatever. Yeah.
Right. So and I know Dice was a huge not a fan. Oh, well, he had to be a fan, but he did a great impersonation of Jerry Lewis. It was part of his early act. He did a lot of Jerry Lewis stuff.
That whole Buddy Love. Whole Buddy Love.
I'm wondering how much of that The Day the Laughter Died album is kind of a tribute or homage to Jerry Lewis.
No, I think he just wanted. He did a show with no audience.
Yeah. Yeah.
It was just a show with just him dry in a club. I don't know whether it's Dangerfields or Caroline's or whatever. I think
it was the comedy store. It was during the day.
He was just
Mitzi's place.
Yeah.
He got so big that he would just do anything.
Oh, this is Slaptail. He says, "Hi Jackie, I'm listening between patients. Can't wait for your show. Between patients. Wow. What are you treating prostate cancer today? Because I really am looking for some advice.
No, he's doing prostate exams, which is really weird in a eye doctor clinic. But
well, that's why I'm looking forward to going out there. What does he do? I don't even know what he does.
He's a nurse practitioner, and I think he does a lot of home care. If I, like house calls. I think.
So he wears a really nice skirt. He practices his nursing on you.
Yeah,
sponge baths and all.
Yeah, Army vet, and he's in his spare time he does little video vignettes called "Who the fuck is Stephen Ortiz?" and nobody knows who the fuck.
Now, comedy-wise,
hold on. He's had a couple that have either kind of heard of me, or like my name rang a bell.
It's a very Ortiz is not like a uncommon name. So
it is when you're white and have a red beard.
Why is your nickname the sitcom? I've never asked that.
So, well, I'm a sit-down comedian.
He's stuck. No,
so basically, it started out when I started doing stand-up 8 years ago. I would go to the clubs and people would come up and be like, "You don't do stand-up, you do sit-down comedy." And after like a month of hearing the same shit, I just started beating them to the punch, and I just kind of shortened it to a nickname and threw it on the paper, and it just stuck.
And that's very smart. And I didn't see the sit in sitcom as smart as I'm supposed to be. So I get that. That's cool.
Yeah. Well, that's even a safer distance from genius now.
Yep. Traveling at the speed of light away from that.
Yeah.
I went to see. What did we go to see? How could I not remember? Oh, we went to see the new Jurassic Park. I just love those. some people like stuff and some people hate stuff. You give me a dinosaur or Cowboys and Indians, I'm good. You know, I just
or
really
Cowboys
like
and Indians
it, you know.
fighting dinosaurs.
Yeah, there you go. And it's so stupid, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, there's not one thing where you could say, well, that possibly could have happened. You know, aside from a guy taking a drink of water, but it's great fun. It really is great fun. And that was such a interesting concept when it happened. The whole thing of the egg being caught in the what was it?
There was it wasn't based on this, but there was a similar rumor around that fucking island. What the hell's the name of the island? Plum Island, off of the coast up here on North Shore on the East End.
Plum Island.
It is Plum Island, right? And they had all these kind of dinosaur type of
shit.
Yeah. Very, the island of Dr. Moreau type of thing.
They're pretty close to bringing back the woolly mammoth.
I've seen that. I heard it was going to be in the next 10 years.
And there's a wolf that they're trying to bring back right now.
They brought back the dire wolf. That's already happened.
Yeah, that's yeah.
That's some scary shit, you know.
It is. Well, I mean, we've had so many movies telling us why we shouldn't do this, and we just keep trucking forward.
Everything feels like this is. Haven't you people ever watched horror movies, or even? I mean, you know what could go wrong? Because I was talking to the guy, the physicist, who was talking about CERN, and Guy Morris is his name, and all the experiments they're doing at CERN. Like, let's see what happens if we open up a mini black hole. No, that's a bad idea. Somebody should call up and say, "Hello, this is the director of CERN. I hear what you're talking about down there. That's it. Watch The Fly." See what could go wrong with that experiment.
Well, wait till you see what happens in this. What makes this go kaflooey, which is just crazy. You know, it's absurd. I'll tell you, that movie, The Fly. I don't know what year it was, but I was young. That was a scary, scary movie. I still remember that so clearly. You know, the one with Vincent Price and it was probably 1956 or something like that.
Yeah.
What year?
Was it the voice of the fly that haunted you and the spider web was going, "Help me, help me"?
Yeah, that's the guy sitting on the park bench.
Yeah.
And
I never saw the remake. I never saw the remake because to me the remake can't top that, even though it was like.
The terror, it was, for years, if somebody just went, "Help me," you knew what they were referencing. You just did. That's I can still, it's like a little fly with the guy's head. Oh, Jesus Christ. These people with their bullshit.
Is Freehold the next show you're doing in July 25th?
Yeah, Friday night, July 25th.
Wow.
8 p.m. Friday night, July 25th. The American
Big Beautiful
Hotel,
Bill.
Freehold, New Jersey.
Big Beautiful Bill says the second one was pretty okay. That's a Ron critique.
Yeah, that's a Ron answer.
Yeah, pretty okay.
I've ever heard it.
Not bad.
On a scale of not bad to pretty okay.
Jeff Goldblum, and I really like anything he's in, so that's fine,
Yeah.
Jeff Goldblum is a national treasure. I love that guy.
Yeah. No, it's the show, the better sister, the good sister, right? No, the better sister.
The better sister.
The better sister.
I'm getting so many emails from people, that are watching that show because it's a popular show. Everybody really likes it. It got great reviews. And people are saying, "Jesus Christ, I'm watching this great show," and all of a sudden there you are, And then I say, "That's nothing." The next, episode 8 is almost the whole episode is in my house.
Very cool stuff, man. I mean, but I'm trying to get my wife started getting into television, and I keep trying to push that show on her. Like, if you're gonna watch television, then watch something that I know somebody in. But
it's a good show.
Yeah.
It's a murder mystery.
A murder mystery. All right, fine.
Murder mystery. That's the best.
Yeah. I just hope it gets renewed and they got to shoot some more here. That's all. That's all I care about.
So, Jackie, I was going to ask you, are there any actresses that you just absolutely want to have in your bed?
Everyone.
That you haven't had already?
Oh.
it'd be easier to just name the ones I wouldn't want to have in my bed. You know,
which ones would you not
walk around in Manhattan, picking, looking at girls, say, "Oh, I'd love to fuck her." I'd love it. But now I walk around Manhattan, I'm hard pressed to find a girl that I would fuck. You know, I you know, not that I do, but I mean,
you got to make sure that they're girls too.
Yeah.
What? Like that gets in the way.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. I was reminiscing because last week we took off. Because it was 4th of July. That's why we took off Friday. And I put together a kind of best of reel to run while we took the day off. And my interview with Rob Bartlett, a lot of it was talking about Richard M. Dixon's and the Off-Hour Rockers opening up there with like the first kind of icebreakers there that got a lot of people into it and the music stuff. And then we started talking about how that is not really a thing anymore. There was a point in time where if you went to a comedy club, you were almost certain to see somebody who would bring up a musical instrument or play a piano, or like a Victor Porter guy or a guy with a guitar or something. I guess that kind of is not a thing anymore.
The whole first year I was a comic, I went on stage with my guitar.
Yeah.
You know, I remember so distinctly the night I took it off. The East Side Comedy Club was opening up, and we all took turns. Jackie Mason did the opening week, and we each got a turn to host the show. And I went up to open the show with my guitar and sang a song, and, you know, told a few jokes. And I'll never forget, because then I introduced Jackie Mason. And but after I played and introduced the first comic, I think there's probably one comic on before Jackie Mason. I did my thing with the guitar and then introduced the comic and put down my guitar. And then when it was time to go up and introduce the next guy, it really made no sense to go on stage and put on your guitar to say, "Here's Jackie Mason." So I went up on stage and didn't put on the guitar. And I was like, wow, this is cool. You know, look at the as silly as that sounds, it was not apparent to me. And then from then on, I put on my guitar at the very end, you know.
Jackie Mason.
I was so bad. I was so
hold
bad.
on with you.
I played my songs, told my jokes, and I must have played another song before I brought Jackie Mason up. And I walked off stage, and he, on his way up to the stage, he said to me, "Kid, they really love you. They'd love you even more if you'd shut up."
So wait, now GD has a question, but I'm just curious. Jackie Mason is at the East Side Comedy Club. Is that
he
where
opened it up?
Wow.
He had been on the outskirts of show business down in Florida because that whole Ed Sullivan thing had fucked him up so bad, and everybody hated him. And I think he was working at the Diplomat, and Richie Minervini was down there, and he befriended him and asked him to come up and do the opening week. Yeah, that was a real big deal for us. I recorded a whole album of him. I sent that to you, right?
Yeah. So that was really the start of the renaissance for him, because he then went on and started doing one-man plays on Broadway and one-man shows. So yeah,
slowly but surely he got accepted back. But that was the East Side Comedy Club opened in '81, and you know he clawed his way back. You know, Ed Sullivan it's hard to express how powerful Ed Sullivan was, you know. Yeah. It was like the Johnny Carson show, you know, if you went on Ed Sullivan, but he had the power to tell people, you know, if you ever use that guy, none of your clients are coming back on my show. Or I don't know exactly what happened, but he certainly wasn't guilty of what he was accused of. And that thing has been going on and on and on, beaten to death, you know.
That's a funny line. B. Arthur is gone, so my list is shorter. I'm sorry, I laughed. GD has a question about his mom. So go ahead, GD. Ask Jackie about your mom.
Jackie, when you performed with your guitar, once you got rid of the guitar, did you view the guitar like a barrier or protection between you and the audience? Because some people have
it just is. It just is. It's just, you're up there with a friend. You're not naked.
This
you
is
can
how
look
I
down
feel.
at your guitar.
So what you got?
It's like being on stage with a partner. You look at your partner. It isn't. You take the concentration off yourself for 2 seconds. It's a real respite. It's a whole thing.
So
I had a whole
huge
war, not war, but a huge argument there was a group called Mac and Jamie, this two-man act. And they were great, and they went on to, they wrote some big stuff. They had their own TV show in the early 80s. But we were in Florida, and Bob Nelson went on stage, and he's killing. He's juggling water, and no, that's Lenny Schultz. He's juggling balloons and doing all, he had all these different props, and he did great shit. And these two guys are like, yeah, look at that. That's such bullshit. That's not comedy. He's up there with those toys. Anybody could do that shit. And I turned to them, and I was so incensed. I said, you guys are so full of shit. He's up there, and he's got things to play with and things that he uses in his act. He has props. What is the single best prop you could have on stage? And you know what that is? Another fucking human being.
Oh,
you guys are up there. There's two of you. That's the best prop you could ever have. You get the, it's just such bullshit. Go up there alone. Go up there without your partner and see how long.
Before last night, I would, and I appreciate the value of what you just said. But before last night, I probably would have looked at it differently because Hedberg lost footage. He's got a guy called the Possum. The Possum is he's doing like he's in a comedy club, but he's doing the lamest. I could probably show you some of the stuff, but I'm not going to bother with that. But he's just making faces and stuff. And then I hear Hedberg's explanation. He said, first time I ever played in Boca Raton, I had so bad stage fright that he was the fry cook, and I asked him to come up on stage with me, and that's how the guy became a comedy club act. Is he was just his security blanket that he brought him up on stage. But now you fucking ruined the comedy world by making this guy a comedian, because nobody would laugh at this guy. He would come up on stage, hey, I do faster, and people would be like, "What the fuck is this?"
There was a guy that. Go ahead.
Was it like a transition for you to go? I mean, was it hard for you to transition from not having your guitar to doing the comedy without guitar?
No, I would put it and use it at the end, but I used to, it was on for my whole act. I did parodies and little snippets of of bad, like 2 lines or 4 lines of a song, and it was lame. It was horrible, but I got booked. I the whole time I was at the comic strip, I always brought my guitar down there, and I took it on the road. When I worked these clubs around, it was, even after I stopped having it on all the time, I would usually bring it with me. But then I wound up just going on and on and on and on and playing Stump the Joke Man. By the time I was done, it would have been too ridiculous to say. And now one more thing. If I had to reach for the guitar, they'd say, stop, just get the fuck off the stage,
Yeah, I have said that for a long time to people musicians who think they could do comedy. It's like, you don't understand. Even if you're a lead singer and you're just used to only having that mic, you got your friends on stage with you and all that kind of stuff. The idea of taking the guitar off and standing there with just a microphone, to me, it's terrifying. Because
what's weird is after all those years of doing comedy, and then I put together a one-man show, and you go up on stage and you play one of your songs. You're used to doing a joke and getting a laugh, and a joke and getting a laugh. All of a sudden, I'm playing a song, and for 3 minutes, there's no laughter and no applause, and like you think you're bombing, but you're not bombing because they're listening. They're right. Listening. There might be a funny line or two in the song where people giggle, but the whole thing, it's
That sounds terrifying. I don't like that at all. I couldn't imagine.
I want to.
You know, one of the worst things that ever happened to me. I did a show at the Bolton Center, and it was one of the first times that I did my one-man show, and I would play a song and then get up on the mic and tell a story and then play another song. And but all I know is that I played a couple songs, and then I went to the mic and told a few jokes. Then one of my jokes didn't get that big a laugh. And I said, you better laugh or I'll play more music. And that got the biggest laugh of the, anything but that, so.
I want to go back to what was
so
a
mean.
little.
It's such a mean job. It's such a mean way to do anything,
Right. Back a little bit, backtracking what we were talking about before about the pornish stuff, because I know that you are friends with Opie and Anthony separately now and do their shows. When you were on Stern, were you friendly with them while you were on Stern and they had their show?
I didn't know him. I only met Anthony when he came in to do the Jackie lookalike contest, but I never met them.
Did they ever tell you?
Not for any no animosity or anything. I just they were in Boston, and then they came to New York. But I, never.
I know there was animosity between Stern and them for some whatever, but on the porn stuff,
there were new kids on the block.
Yeah, it's basically the Imus Howard and Imus relationship. Now Howard is the Imus
exactly.
person. Yeah,
exactly.
But on the porn stuff, I wonder if they've ever shared the story with you, because to me it's fascinating. They had a porn star on. I guess the iPhone was already out, because they asked the girl to put the iPhone in her vagina and call it, and then they could hear the ring, and that was like the big stunt on the radio, was sticking an iPhone in her vagina and calling it and see if you could still hear the ringtone.
Jesus. And it fit. Just the fact.
And who answered it? That's what I want to know. Who answered the call?
Yeah.
It's me, Herb.
Some guy was in there driving around looking for his car keys. Remember that?
Yeah.
No, nobody answered it. Went straight to Clinton mail.
What?
Wow.
What?
I said nobody answered it. Went straight to Clinton mail.
Jesus.
It's been nice having
so
a show.
Horribly funny. So horribly funny.
We used to have a show.
I was never into porn, but you know that my song got nominated. You know that whole story, right?
Got nominated for what? Like an AVN type of like?
Yeah. Oh, you don't know that story?
No, it's pot joke. Not the pot song.
My friend Eric Middleman was very good friends with Erica McLean. Erica McLean's husband was the photo editor for Hustler magazine for like 25 years.
Ooh.
And he passed away and left her a lot of money. And she was like, she's like both sides of the fence. She's very, very pretty, but older woman. Like, she was 50, 60, whatever, but she just looks fantastic. And she wanted to produce a porno movie. So Eric produced it with her out in Los Angeles, and they were all done. And he was editing it on his computer in his apartment, and I was staying with him. And he said, Jackie, I'm doing the credits to Erica's movie. Do you want me to put your song over the credits? I said, I would love that. So it was called the Pink Pig or something like that. I don't know. I could find out. And the song got nominated for an AVN award. And it was so exciting. Me and my friend Toby flew out. I didn't know, but there were 17 songs nominated. And it was one of those things where they give away the award the afternoon before. You know how they give out the Techie Awards with the Oscars. Mm-hmm. So not only I didn't even get to lose on stage, but Richie Kanada's cousin, or wait, was it Richie Kanada's cousin? No, who's the guys in Billy Joel's band?
That's Richie Kanada, Russell Jabbers,
Russell Jabbers' Russell Jarvis' cousin was in charge of the AVN Awards. And I met him, and he said, I said, I can't believe that. I'm so thrilled that you put my record, put my song in nominated my song. And he said, Jackie, I had no idea that was your song. I just thought it was such a funny, wild song. And then I found out it was you. It was hysterical, you know. But we went there. We went there, and there was a very pretty girl standing in the VIP room, either before or after the awards. And me and Toby go up and we start talking to her, and she's really cute. And we take a picture with her. And I sent back the picture to Ian, my radio guy. And he said, "You were talking to her?" And I go, "Yeah." He said, "She's the world's best, is it called spitter?
Squirter.
Squirter.
There you go.
Championship squirter."
I feel embarrassed for knowing that.
She should, you sick freak.
He knew who it was. I sent him the picture. He said, "Oh, that's, Harriet the Squirter." I'm like, "Holy shit, you know her." Another. And then we went to a party somewhere. And we were standing around the bar at the Venetian, which is where they had the AVN Awards. And this very cute girl's flirting with me, and I'm talking to her, and we're having fun and we're laughing. And a bunch of people are kind of not staring at me, but kind of checking me out, like what's going on. And finally, somebody said that when they have these AVN Awards, it's like a convention. Like if you're having a convention and say you've got a record company, you take a suite. And people come up to your suite and they have a shot of Jack Daniels, and you give them a free CD, and it's all promotion. And what they do is the porn companies will get a suite and have people having sex on the bed in the suite. And you come in and have a drink and watch them fuck and go wild. And this girl that was flirting with me, they said the night before, 30 guys shot their loads on her. While she lied in bed. They circled the bed and just coated her. I didn't even know what bukkake was. That word, I hadn't heard of that word yet.
It's our favorite word.
It is one of our favorite words.
She was completely coated with sperm, and here I am. Look at me. I'm flirting with this girl. I
got a title for this story.
I didn't smell anything.
The title for that story is Flirting and Squirting.
So very good. Very good.
Why is it when you're talking about a bukkake, when you say she's covered in sperm, it sounds so much grosser than cum? Like,
really?
Oh, she was covered in cum.
I don't know.
Dude,
not to me.
It sounds grosser to me. I don't know why.
I don't know.
Jizz. But I
I
don't know any of that shit. I never even watched it. They used to send literally hundreds of porn DVDs to the Stern Show, hoping that he was going to look at one and mention it on the air. And we'd have boxes, and I would take the boxes of porn DVDs, and people thought I was the horniest bastard in the world. But I would take them down and I would give them to the parking lot garage guys, and they'd go wild. There was enough for them to have,
Hell yeah, Jackie's here. Hell yeah, let's go.
Me.
Your Christmas bonus.
Jackie watches. That's all he does is watch those porn things.
You're like Santa Claus, but you help people come more than once a year.
Yeah, and then please.
I think I need to.
Instead of tipping them, he's giving them DVDs, which was, of course, was a lie.
I need to explain to the audience why I know Squirted, because Californication, one of my favorite shows on Showtime, David Duchovny, Hank Moody. He introduced me to what a squirter was. There was a lot of sex in that show, and he was very he was a womanizer. Anyway, he was.
What was it about? What was it about? Porn?
It was Californication was about David Duchovny as a writer who had this great big successful book, and then got like writer's block, and everybody was trying to get him to do his next. Because he was an acclaimed writer, and he was stuck. He couldn't do stuff. And then it was just like one issue with him trying to hold on to this girlfriend that he had while he was still fucking every other like starlet in Hollywood and stuff. And it was just like it was so the same way I learned about the squirt is he had some girl on and somebody said you got to be careful with her, and he didn't pay any attention. He was in and he was eating her, and then all of a sudden you see this shot of just like a wave coming over him in the bed.
This is on the show?
Yeah.
On the show?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, it was pretty wild movie, Californication. A lot of weed smoking, a lot of fucking. And Duchovny.
I didn't know that.
And apparently he came out in like a Playboy article and said he had a sex addiction. So that was what made him perfect for that role. Like he was after X-Files, he was just like a total sex freak. And so he had a lot to do with
I
writing.
love this sex addiction. That was Michael Douglas's excuse for, cheating on his wife because he's a sex addict. In my day, we called it a horny bastard.
That's exactly what it is.
What's the difference? We're all horny bastards. It's just a question of how much you let it take over your life.
Now
I tell you what I was going to name. I was going to name my autobiography. I couldn't, of course, because for a million reasons. But I wanted to call my autobiography "My Life Was Wrecked by Pussy, and It Wasn't Even Good Pussy." which I am embarrassed how accurate that is.
TD wants to tell you about his mother.
My father had I refer to it as a meandering penis, and I said he had dyslexia because my father was something of a whore.
Something of one. I'm blaming Jackie for my browser history getting fucked up because you mentioned the photographer for Hustler magazine. I remember when I was 19 years old, this guy Tommy Monahan, who's a friend who's no longer with us, he was like hiding something. He had to show my brother, it was in secret, about the girl at the bar. The girl at the bar who was in Hustler magazine's Girl Next Door contest, and then it turned out to be a girl who I had sat next to from kindergarten through 9th grade. She was one of the smartest girls, so shy, like she wouldn't say a word. She's now in Hustler magazine, Girl Next Door, Spread Eagle. I mean, the whole bit. And so I was just like looking her, as you were mentioning Hustler magazine. I was like, that's got to be on. They have to have some kind of record of Hustler's Girl Next Door stuff, right?
I don't know, but I would imagine those magazines. I don't know. Did they transfer? Did Hustler transfer to the web?
I would think, the people, the fans, I'm sure there's somebody with a stack of Hustlers who went, but I didn't find it on the first search. But now I'm curious, like whatever happened with that. I want to read what. Because she was so shy. She was brilliant. She was like a straight A student. Yeah.
Even better than Google, if you go on ChatGPT, you can ask them about anybody. And if they can't find them, they'll explain to you why they can't find them. It's pretty scary.
I know. But that's the kind of thing that really surprised me. Like Stormy Daniels is really smart. She's doing stand-up comedy now, and I think she's got a movie out. But a lot of these porn stars are really freaking brilliant. Like they're not stupid girls. They just like come.
Well, I mean, I don't think it's very stupid to make the kind of money they do. So
the old story is like, how stupid can they be? They sell it and they've still got it.
Yeah.
You don't get a business any better than that,
Yeah.
You just gotta take care of it.
Are you doing any stuff on Cameo? I know you were doing Cameo stuff.
I haven't been doing a lot, but I think I did 3 last week, and I love doing them. I got I don't know how many, I think 150 5-star reviews.
Is it always
I don't charge that much? I don't.
Birthday type stuff, or can you do one for my brother for his birthday or something like that? Is that what it is?
Do something to cheer up Harry. He's having a tough time. Eddie's starting college. Make him laugh. Me and my sister are big fans. It's her birthday. Every different one guy had me do one for his friends to play at his funeral. I swear to God.
That's a good one.
I thought,
awesome. Hell yeah.
I thought that was pretty cool, even if he was fucking around,
Yeah.
But I love doing them because I just get
that's
to
what
sit
I
there
want.
and rattle off jokes,
Steven,
so
get that
much
for me
fun.
for my birthday. Get Jackie to do a cameo for my eulogy for my birthday. All right. Like and do a better job than you do with booking porn stars because you sucked at that. You know you sucked at that.
Dude, I tried. Porn stars are just they probably get harassed a lot. That's probably why they don't respond and they don't.
Well, Jackie gave you the perfect answer. They do some whether they used to do them at like video stores where their tapes were. But I don't know if they do that anymore. But they still go around the gentlemen's clubs and do appearances. Contact the clubs and say we'll promo your club stuff, your shows. Come on, man. Think like an entrepreneur. That's all I'm saying.
You're right. I should.
Yeah. Anyway, so yeah, you know what? The pot song. Can I use the pot? I have a weed channel. It's called Weed World on YouTube, and I'm like, I think I've already shot my load as far as what I can do on content there. I did something about how to make your own gummies at home. The difference between THCA and regular THC, and now I'm like out of ideas. So can I use the pot song there? Do like a.
I would love that. You know who aired the pot song when it first came out? Dr. Demento used to play it a lot, and now he's on the web and he's still active. And I keep trying to get a hold of him, like, "Hey, Doc, play the pot song again."
I think I saw.
Dr. Demento's still alive.
Yeah, and working. I think he's one of those guys who wasn't that old. For some reason, you thought he was 50, but he was probably 20.
Right? Yeah, because I always remember hearing that he was Weird Al's inspiration.
Because the humor was so campy that even when I'm in my 20s, I'm thinking this guy is like my mother's generation, my father's generation.
I always thought he was an older guy. I didn't think he was alive anymore, honestly.
Yeah.
No, yeah.
Dr.
And I never met him. But
another thing,
I have a letter from him in his what's it called? His letterhead, Dr. Demento. Yeah. Jackie, thanks. Everybody loves the pot song, blah, blah, blah,
I don't think,
do you know his real Howard? That was 1976, 77, something like that.
Do you know his real name? I don't think anybody knows his real name. It's Dr. Demento. It's one of those people who was able to keep their stage name.
Put that in Chat GBT. What is Dr. Demento's real name? They'll probably tell you what he had for breakfast.
Barrett Eugene Hansen.
Wow.
There you go. See that?
Wow. Steven's good with
it.
He
might have just made that up.
He did.
No, he was born April 2nd, 1941, known professionally as Dr. Demento. American broadcaster, record collector, specializing in novelty songs, comedy, and unusual recordings from the dawn of the phonograph to present.
Wow.
Born in Minneapolis, Minnesota.
Wow, you guys know everything. Like you do know what he had for breakfast. Good for you.
Yeah, see that?
Yeah.
Spinach omelet.
One last thing, and then I'll let you go. Again, with regards to my Weed World channel, out of content, can I come up to Bayville and film your little stash, your garden?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, sure. I mean, I need.
Oh, Matt, that would be a fun.
I told you anytime.
That would be a fun. That'd be a fun little series to do. Maybe like celebrity potheads.
I could go ask the weed plants. Who the fuck is Stephen Ortiz?
Oh, they.
Well, Matt, I thought you were going to do. Can you make a bong out of this?
Can I make a bong? Oh yeah, that's a good idea. I wrote that down yesterday.
You gave me did. That idea. All. I was like, wait, you just pretended to write that down just to make me happy?
No, I wrote it down. It's right here. GD, and it even says make sure you credit GD right here. That's a good idea.
No, it does. Some son of a bitch snuck into my pot garden and planted 4 tomato plants.
Oh, that fucking bastard!
God, what the fuck, man?
No, I actually moved a couple and put in some
when my father, when I was a kid, like
heirloom brandy wine. Brandy wine heirloom. They're the best tomatoes.
Those are nice
by
tomatoes.
far.
Yeah, nice tomatoes.
Unbelievable. You know, and my friend Peter grows them. The only trouble with growing tomatoes is when your tomatoes are ready, everybody's tomatoes are ready. It's like, you want some tomatoes? No, you want some tomatoes? You know.
Yeah.
But it's still fun to go out, pick a tomato and slice it up and salt and pepper. You know, it's like being with my grandfather, you know.
When I was like 12 years old,
fun.
my father had a half a lung removed, and then because he had lung cancer, he had a lung removed, and then so he was operating on half a lung, and he went back to smoking, which is half a lung in him. But he had this garden that he couldn't tend to anymore, and I had a friend who had all these pot plants, and I just like filled up his entire garden space with pot plants. And one day, neighbor came over, and my father's there with one lung smoking a cigarette, half a lung smoking a cigarette. And he goes, you know, Matthew's got all these tomatoes, but they're not bearing fruit. He goes, look at all these plants. They're all getting really high, and they're not bearing any fruit. The neighbor said, Georgie, that's marijuana you got there. I remember getting home. And my father was like, this is the one time where he really fucking didn't hold back. He gave me such a fucking shot right across. Like, how dare you made a fool of me by telling me these were tomato plants. But they were getting like this.
We had you off our rockers. We had you off our rockers. Me and Bates planted some pot in my backyard. And when my old man found out what it was, of course, he yanked them all out. And one of the songs on our act was the Donovan song, Yellow is the color of my true love's hair in the morning. Is that way before your time? You remember that song?
No, it's way before Steven's time, but I know the song.
And so one of the verses we used to sing was, green is the color of the corn John cut down in the morning. Oh, we used to laugh our asses off, you know. Such fun.
So, yeah, maybe one day next week, like a weekday next week, I could stop up there and do a little videotape for my Wii channel.
Probably you should say this is Jackie's garden out on Long Island, out in Suffolk somewhere. You know, maybe we shouldn't.
Yeah. It is.
I don't care about the cops. I care about, although, you know, the people that used to steal my pot.
They're all growing their own.
Years ago, they all grew up and got married and moved out of town. You know, there's nobody left to steal my pot. And now nobody wants it because they all get that pot that you can buy in the stores is like, that's crazy pot, you know.
Yeah, it is. It's really, I mean, compared to what I grew up on, it's just an insanely strong stuff.
Yeah, my pot is working gauge. All my friends love it because you can smoke a joint and still be a human. And if you want to get higher, you smoke some more, as opposed to, God,
you know, that's hard to find these days.
You know, my buddy gave me a hit off of one of those, you know, self-contained pipes. I took a big toke. I was high for like 4 fucking hours.
Yeah.
You know, like, Jesus Christ.
Yeah. It's
I've
really hard to.
To the pot seltzer. Have you guys been doing that? Drinking pot seltzer?
No, but I actually did recently get some tablet form THC, like in like pill form, and that wasn't bad because it hit slow and it lasted like 4 or 5 hours, but it wasn't like a scary high. It was like a motivated high.
Yeah, see, the hitting slow thing is a trick.
Know, that's a good thing about the.
Yeah.
You know, you drink. You know, I always drink this pot seltzer and I'm all right, and then by the time I go to bed, I'm fucking sailing. You know, which is wrong. You know, it takes a long time when you put it in your system. You know,
those pills don't hit. They like I said, they hit slow. But they don't. It doesn't get to like a really scary like peak or climax. It's just a real gentle up and down. It's really
high right now.
You know, it just dawned on me. I wonder if you could give yourself a pot seltzer enema.
Well, if it's a liquid, you can put it in your ass. That's a thing.
I mean, people, because a lot of alcoholics would.
Well, you learn that alcohol. If it's anything, you can put it in your ass. You know, almost anything in there.
Stephen, I have a question about your THC pills. Can you grind them up and snort it like coke?
Of course, you can grind up any.
I would imagine,
like an anus,
yeah,
you can fit any.
But it'll burn the shit out of you. We used to do that before a band job. Remember White Crosses, the little tiny pills that were uppers.
White Crossroads.
Oh, mini thins.
No.
Me and the drummer would take a couple of those, and then we'd grind them up and snort some behind the drums. But it would just burn your head, like it's not made for snorting,
My brother was the king of yellow Crossroads. Yellows were stronger than the white ones, and he would. It was when he was working sanitation, working on the back of a garbage truck, getting up at 4 o'clock in the morning, and basically he would buy 100 a day, 100 yellow Crossroads a fucking day. I don't think he ate them all himself, but he was like he had a reputation for being the yellow. He was skinny as a rail, but always like full of energy. But always on those uppers.
Yeah, but you crash from that shit. We would do so many White Crosses. Friday afternoon, Friday night, and then Saturday night, the 3 band jobs. We'd be sailing, and then you couldn't talk to another human being until Wednesday because
yeah. And now he used to drink so much at the end of the day to kind of wear off the effects of the uppers that he would be like hallucinating. And he drove his car. He thought he saw a dog run in front of him. This was the story he told. A dog ran in front of him, and to avoid hitting the dog, he turned off and he went into the canal. He sunk 13 boats, flipped over his car 4 times into the canal, upside down in the canal. He gets out of the canal and climbs out of the canal and walks home and leaves the car there. And the cops came the next day because the registration's still in the glove box and all, and tracked him down. Like, what happened? He's just too fucked up. He didn't get.
Do you know that story where a guy's driving along and he goes off the road like that, and the car tumbles down and flips over, and he climbs out of the car and he's a fucking mess. And he goes back up to the road and he's hitchhiking and gets a ride. And this young girl picks him up, this woman. And they get in the car and they start talking. And she starts flirting with him. And she reaches over and puts her hand on his thigh and starts rubbing his cock. And she says, you want to come back to my place with me? He said, I'd really like to, but I don't think my wife would like that. And she says, your wife? Where's your wife? He says, I'm pretty sure she's still back there in the car in the ditch.
Yeah, so I can't let you go until you help us out with a joke, a setup, because we know the punchline. And I'm probably saying the word wrong, shish kaboomba. But the guy says you could either get like thrown into the pit and die, or shish kaboomba.
Bunga bunga. Bunga
oh yeah,
bunga.
Whatever. But the setup for that, we don't. Do you remember this? What's the setup for that?
There's 3 guys in Africa, and they get caught by cannibals. And the cannibals throw them into a bamboo jail. And they take the first guy out of the jail. And he says, you have 2 choices, death or bunga bunga. And the guy's like, well, I don't want to die, so I'll take bunga bunga. And all the natives jumping up and down, oh, bunga. Bunga bunga, bunga bunga, and they bend the guy over a log and pull down his pants, and one by one they all fuck him in his ass, and they throw him back in the bamboo jail, and he's lying there bleeding, and he's in agony, he's going crazy, and they take the next guy out and said, you have 2 choices, death or bunga bunga, and he's like, oh Jesus, man, I don't want to die. Okay, bunga bunga. So you bend him over and pull his pants down. And it's even worse for him because the natives already had sex, so it takes them a lot longer the second time. So they all fuck him in the ass, and he is a mess. And they throw him back in the bamboo jail, and he's bleeding and screaming, and they're moaning. And the third guy's watching all this, and they take the third guy out. And they say, you have 2 choices, death or bunga bunga. And he's like, he looks over at the guy's moaning. He's like, no. He said, all right, I'll take death. And the chief goes, oh, death. Okay, death. But first, Bunga bunga.
See, that's how to tell that joke. Yeah, I gotta listen to that song. Because I that's the way to tell that joke.
A lot of guys they used to tell at the comic strip they called it Chi-Chi. I like bunga bunga.
Yeah. All right. Jokeland.com, folks. 516-9221 and Cameo for Jackie. And July 25th in Freehold, New Jersey. At what is the American?
July 25th, Freehold, New Jersey, the American Hotel.
The American Hotel.
Produced by Uncle Vinny from Uncle Vinny's Comedy Club in Point Pleasant, New Jersey. It's all the links to all my gigs are always on jokeland.com, and I always tell people they can email me. Some people do. Jokeland@AOL.com, JOKELAND @AOL.com, and September 5th, I'm going to be at the Wealthy Theater in Grand Rapids showing my documentary and doing a Q&A with our friend John Beavers, and I appreciate it.
I gotta finish. I started a documentary on when you did it at the Long Island Music Hall of Fame, Music and Comedy Hall of Fame, Music and Entertainment Hall of Fame. I started doing like a mini doc because I filmed that thing, and I wanted to do a little. Maybe I should take a trip out there and get and film the thing at Beavers and mash them two together.
That night was a really great Q&A that night, right?
Yeah. Yeah,
I think the Q&A was longer than the movie, right? It was like an hour and 20 minutes or something.
Oh, it was long, and there were a lot of people with. I mean, the guy I brought with me, Phil, was asking dopey questions about Stern Show, and he was asking me questions about stuff that happened after you left the show. It's like, dude, he was the one guy asking the wrong questions, but there were a lot of great questions. Felix was there. Felix from Zebra was there. It was a great night, so I got to finish that fucking piece. But
it was really fun.
Yeah,
they actually asked me if I wanted to do a one-man exhibition of my crap, and I said, I got so much memorabilia and so much stuff, but I don't really think it's anything anybody be too interested in. I got notes from the Stern Show and scripts, and but.
I think they would be interested in it. It's just the matter of work that you'd have to have a crew of people kind of come to your place, bring a truck full of stuff, set it up in a way, and organize it in a way that people could see it. Like
way crazy, crazy.
Maybe a small exhibit.
Like I'd rather hire people. I'd do a tour where people can come here, because people love when they come and see the shit here in the garage. They go nuts.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, maybe a small exhibit in the Long Island Hall of Fame there, the Music and Entertainment Hall of Fame, that would like the Billy Joel thing was like on there for 8 months or something. Something like that makes sense. But for a one-time thing, it's just way too much work. Anyway, we appreciate. I really appreciate
4,000 comedians from Long Island. I'm small potatoes. You got the Seinfelds and the Kevin Jameses and the Eddie Murphys. Like, I'm so low on the totem pole, but I'm still doing it, and people still know me. So who knows?
Jackie, you may be small potatoes to them, but you're my main spud. Okay, you've always been my main spud.
Aww,
you faggot.
Yeah, I know. Thank you very much. That was exactly what I was thinking, but I didn't want to say it. All right.
I love the Danny for it too.
I am so fried. I was out last night for so long, and I got up and did this long swim, and now I did 2 hours with you guys. I have to go to physical therapy, and I think I'm going to fall asleep right on the goddamn table.
All right,
but who cares?
Well, maybe I'll see you next week.
I'm going to be doing an event for there's a bookstore in town called Theodore's Books, and it's owned by Steve Israel, who was a congressman. And I met him the other night at a horse party, a Save the Mustangs party, and I'm going to be doing a signing, somewhere in Oyster Bay, a book signing. After all these years, I'm going to do a signing, and it's going to be produced by Theodore Books. So that's a fun thing. But I'll let you know when that's happening.
Yeah,
so I'm
definitely.
not dead yet,
Not dead yet.
They're doing a sequel. They're doing a sequel to Spinal Tap.
Yeah, I know that. Yeah.
They're making another. I guess I tell people, and people are like, yeah. I guess it's only new news to me. I guess the whole world knows that already.
Yeah. You know,
I'm going.
All right. Have a great day, and maybe I'll see you next week. Hopefully, I'll see you next week.
I'll see you in September, Jackie. Can't wait to meet you.
All right. Have a great day. Bye.
Are you really coming? Bring some chicks, will you? For Christ's sake, stop jerking.
Yeah.
Off. Bring some porn chicks.
I'm sure I can figure something out.
He'll bring AI.
I know you know all the porn chicks. Oh, I sent you Adam Sand's number.
Thank you very much for that.
Call him and ask him if any of these girls want to come on your show and talk. And I'm sure you'll have 100 of them. You know.
All right, great.
He's a good guy. He's a good guy for you to know. He'd be a good guy to interview because he's done everything with everybody. All right, I'll see you guys.
All right, later. See you later. Bye for now. Jackie the Joke Man, folks. 516-922-WINE, jokeland.com, and all that stuff. So, Stephen, you bringing some chicks? Some chicks?
I guess I'm going to have to try.
Some chickadees? This is the boomer thing, right? Well, does anybody say chicks? Young people don't say chicks, right?
I say chicks.
Come, dum, dum. All right.
Come.
All right, so thanks for Jackie for bailing me out because it's been a tough week with these guests and the no shows and it's been a rough time. You looking forward to quitting and never coming back, Stephen? Tomorrow's your last day.
No, I have been struggling. I've been struggling with it because this has been like the best way to start my day for over a year now.
Yeah.
So,
I think it's been even
when you're at the bank, you can just look at the camera and pretend you're on the show and just start saying things like, slappity, slappity.
slappity.
Yeah.
I'll send in a video to play, just having me in the bottom.
You want to plug this next project that you're getting involved in? A podcast with your buddy there, your brother,
Thanks, man. Yeah, I'd like to. Oh, you're talking to him. No,
yeah.
Yeah, so we've been kicking this site. Well, he's been kicking the idea around for probably about 2 years, and since I'm living here now, and we're gonna be working together now, we'll have a lot more to talk about.
Wait, he works in the same bank?
Mm-hmm.
I don't like this. I don't like this at all. It sounds
like the beginning of a Bad Buddy movie, doesn't it?
Believe it or not, we originally met 13 years ago at Sprint. So that's how we met. So we worked together for a long time.
Yeah, but I'm not like, I'm going to call the bank. I don't like this. I got to nip this in the bud.
Actually, oddly enough, when I applied, because I applied to that one because it's right by our house, and they were like, well, you guys can't work together because you guys live together. And we're like, that makes sense. I won't argue that point at all. And then after going and interviewing for a couple other branch locations, they ended up saying, actually, you know what? We love your personality. We think you'd be great in LaGrange. So I was like, okay.
Bear Love is the man to turn to with all your drug-related questions here. Said snorting THC pills will eventually get it to your stomach where the fat cells can absorb it, but it's not absorbed through blood vessels, so it would be pointless. There you go. I did not. So we know that. But like we used to take roaches through the nose, snort roaches through the nose, and smoke would go through. I don't know.
Well, yeah, that's still smoking it basically.
Yeah, all right. But no, it would blow your fucking nostrils out. Like I don't know why we ever thought about doing that, but we did.
We all did stupid shit when we were younger.
Did your generation ever do that? Like put it like a roach ball, burn them, and like snort the fucking thing.
Gravity bongs, hot boxing closets and tents and shit. Yeah. All sorts
Bad movie. Steven's bank heist movie. Ocean's
Ocean's retarded handicap parking. All right. Well.
Yeah, there you go. So we got Jackie to say a homophobic slur on the program. I think we're making progress here.
I love how it was so quiet before he said it. We were all just like, faggot.
And we got Steven. We got Steven to say a homophobic slur on the program too. This show is we're progressing at a breakneck pace.
This feels like a lateral move because you say the N-word often.
I do.
More than any other white
parodies,
guy.
nutsy jokes, and short stories. A live hybrid show available on plausible.com. Join me, G.D. Fenderson, as I perform songs, tell jokes, and regale you with short stories. 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, Saturday, July 19th. $5 per device. That's parodies, nutsy jokes, and short stories on plausible.com
Hold on.
/GD Fenderson.
I don't like how you pronounce nutsy because it sounds like you're almost saying Nazi.
Who cares at this
I
point?
like the way you say faggot because it almost sounds like you're saying Steven.
But you love
Oh.
I'm not even going to say what I was going to say because that would just make everything. See, we were progressing, but now we're regressing. What does this say? I will also be watching DD shows as Steven is not special. Well, he is special. Why would they send a special bus for him every day? Didn't they?
No, actually, no. I rode the regular bus in school.
Faggot.
Sounds like I don't like the way you say that, Matt. It sounds like you said Steven.
I know. I'm sorry. I must be hanging out with some bad influences. I appreciate Jackie was here to save me because I was on the verge. I was not like Steven looking for bridges to jump off. But I was just thinking, why don't I just fucking end the show? It's getting worse. Nothing's improving here, and now I feel like I feel somewhat
I mean, I could stay on the show if you want to start making it dinner with the dog.
No, here's the deal. I'm thinking of giving up your seat if we can get an ugly girl or any girl to take your seat, any female. Even I'll be open. I don't want a lesbian, but I will take a trans woman. I don't want to. The reason I don't want a lesbian is because I know they hate me and I know they can all beat me up. It's not like this is not discrimination. It's fear and self-preservation is what it is. Because they're generally like really snarky. They don't like me. Gay guys love me because I look like a big penis.
We know why gay guys love you.
Yeah, because I look like a 6 foot tall penis. But gay women hate me. Like at first look, they can just like, oh, this is the guy I should hate. This is definitely somebody I should hate.
But we had a woman on the show who was a lesbian who said that you were just overstating that they don't really hate you. That's just something you.
It's a perception you put out, so you make it come true because they pick up on the energy.
Did you have a follow up without me present to kind of let's talk about Matt?
To you. She said she was on the show. She said it to you. It was a comedian. I can't remember her name, but she's actually saying that to you.
Oh, I wasn't listening.
Because she was saying she likes you, and she's like, "Well, I don't want to know why you think that because it must be an idea." You
really?
have.
Where was I? Was there for this?
Yes.
Yeah, you were there.
Actually, I think he might have been down in the left corner at the time.
Yeah, you were in a different corner. That's it. You were down in the lower left-hand corner.
Here, let's see if does this change? Does this rock your memory at all? Does that help?
No, because you can't move him over. You have to find.
I know I can't move him over. It doesn't work. I tried.
This is what you do. Do this.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah.
Yeah, there. Yeah. That's. Oh my God.
Yeah.
That refreshes my memory.
Grandpa.
No.
Who let you out?
She was here. Yeah, the hooker was not the hooker. The lesbian's in the lower right-hand corner.
The hooker. This is why lesbians hate GD. He calls them hookers.
Hooker, he said. And he doesn't mean like TJ Hooker. Now I don't have echo, right? I only have one mic working, so we're cool.
No echo, you're good.
I'm trying to get rid of you anyway.
Yeah. Oh, I was having fun with I was gonna play with myself. I mean,
there
you go. Oh, whoa. Well, this now on the right side's giving a hand job, but the one on the left, now they're both giving hand jobs. I don't like this at all.
It's my dream lover. I think
you.
This has nothing on Steven's AI girlfriend.
So here's an interesting thing.
I can remove this now because it's twice as ugly, and that show is not twice as unattractive.
Yeah, that's fine. It sounds like I'm being self-serving here, doesn't it? Because I am. Oh, that's better. So the rich people, there's been a lot of rich people, but the rich people who gave me an incredible tip told me I was great. Can we hire you outside of the company to come and do another paint party? They went on the paint party review site and left me a scathing review about how I sucked, and and they don't but then they want to hire me on their own outside of the paint party. Like they're trying to get me fired. It seems like trying to get me fired from this, so I will do a discount show for
they want you to be theirs.
Well, here's the big issue of it. The paint party company, I know they charge thousands of dollars. They don't pay me thousands of dollars. They pay me hundreds of dollars. So they're thinking, well, we could just pay them hundreds of dollars and cut out the middleman here. So they had me booked for a huge party at a rich estate in the Hamptons for like 500 people. And I'm thinking, well, I'm going to need an assistant, bring in a PA and all this stuff. And then all of a sudden that got canceled yesterday, and I'm thinking it's because of these other people who left a review. Now the company is like, well, we can't trust them. And then just now, they canceled. They booked this party, then they canceled it the next day. Now I just got a thing that it's back on. Like, what the fuck is going on? People, paint party, cancel it. I'm thinking they got somebody else for it. Oh, we can't get somebody else for it. I think people are lying to me, and I don't like. There's no reason to lie to me. Just tell me you suck. That's why we're canceling, or people didn't want you. Whatever, we're giving it to somebody else because of the last review. Whatever. Tell me the truth. But this back and forth stuff, I just don't like it. I don't like it. It makes me not trust agents, booking agents, and all this stuff. I got a music guy who told me I had a gig. Then he came, oh, well, they decided they're not going to go with music. They're going to do something else. And then I saw some other musician doing the gig. Okay, I get it. They didn't want me. They wanted this Sinatra guy who sings with backing tracks. Fine. But tell me that. Don't lie to me and say they canceled. They're not going to have music now. Tell me they got somebody they want more. They got a Frank Sinatra impersonator who does with backing tracks. Tell me that. Don't fucking lie to me. His birthday
I was working at a senior center, and the guy was entertaining, was doing old Sinatra. He was doing like an old Sinatra impersonation. That's what his gig was, and he had like the little piano thing in the background that played like all the tunes for him. Like a
player piano.
No, it's like a keyboard or like a sequencer, but you can program songs into the sequencer, and it would play them, as if somebody was sitting there playing it. But it actually could do more parts at one time. I have a keyboard that does that. You can actually overlay tracks.
Yeah.
If you read the manual and learn how to do it.
I was doing that. I started in 1981 with a Commodore Amiga. Right. Commodore 64 in sequencing software, and I'd have to bring a television because I didn't have a monitor. Bring a television to kind of set the thing up. But yeah, MIDI sequenced tracks and all that stuff.
Right.
Yeah, but those Sinatra fucking tributes are way overdone. I mean, and I just can't stand the fucking backing track stuff. If you're gonna do a show, and even if it has backing tracks, you need to be able to play an instrument on top of, play a guitar or a piano or something on top of that. Just to go up there with a microphone and sing you might as well advertise it as karaoke open to only one guy.
Basically, yeah, at that point.
I know my wife and I was talking about that because my wife had asked me, if I wanted to use music tracks behind myself, because I'm playing the guitar parts and everything, and it's a lot of time, especially when you're learning new stuff. And I said, no, I'd rather be like, I have the guitar, but also if you're playing with the track and you're doing, let's say, comedy, and people laugh longer than you're expecting them to, you don't want to step on them.
Stop laughing! I have to go. I have to start singing again.
And that's what I wanted to ask Jackie about, but y'all shut me up, so I didn't get a chance to ask him. But that's okay.
What did you? What? He never worked with tracks.
No, but he played guitar. He did song parodies and stuff. And I was going to ask him about, if somebody was laughing longer than, did he delay the next line of the song and like keep playing a chord, or did he just start like, okay, this song, keep the song going?
Well, I can tell you, he didn't do parody, so I can answer this
He said
for
he
him.
did.
He didn't really. He didn't do parody.
He said he did.
He said he did, but I've seen his show for 40 years. He never really did parodies. He did songs that were original songs that were funny, but maybe he got the idea. But I never heard him do a parody in 40 years.
Because my understanding and my impression was that he did a parody, but it wasn't of the whole song. It might be like 4 lines of a song.
That could be, yeah.
So,
but he would.
I guess I listen better than you. I don't know.
No, I actually went to see his shows.
I went to one of his shows too.
One of his shows like 2 years ago. I'm talking about 1983.
It's not my fault he didn't play piano or keyboard or guitar or whatever it was that he did.
Yeah, but he would just if he was on, let's say, a G chord, he would just keep jingle jangling that G chord until he was ready. Like, one of those. The troubadours, they call that a troubadour's timing. Where Bob Dylan often did it in the early days. Like he would just until he remembered the next line, he would just kind of jingle jangle.
I didn't know that had a name. I just called that brain farts. I didn't know it actually had a name.
A troubadour's timing, which is difficult once Dylan got in with the band. The band had to kind of adjust to that. Like the drummer would have to say, "Oh, wait a minute, he threw an extra measure in there, or an extra beat in a measure, or something like that."
That's another why I don't have the tracks and stuff, because I've had one bad experience with the track back when I was playing with the band, and it was awful, and I vowed never to do that again.
So you never work with tracks at all, never work with backing tracks when you're doing the song parody stuff live. That's interesting.
No. And the closest I come to that is there's one particular song that if I tell you the song, you'll know exactly why I feel this way. There's a song that has a bunch of additional sounds in the song that are part of the song, and the sound effects go with the music.
Wow.
And so I will hand out some of those instruments to the audience so that they can make those sound effects for me.
Wow, that's dangerous.
I know. Believe me, I know. I know it's dangerous. I know it's dangerous, but I do it anyway.
Wow.
But I do it early. I do it early to get it out of the way so I have a chance to recover later on. If it goes really bad, it's like, okay.
So you don't bring Annette with you. You leave her home. She's working without Annette.
No, Annette's in the audience, and she's still in the bag.
Fine. Tomorrow, GD's friend Robert Yerry.
Robert Yerry. Yeah.
Is that how you pronounce it? It sounds like you're saying Yuri. It's Yerry. It's pronounced Yuri.
It's Jerry. Like Jerry or Terry. Yerry.
And he's from Troy, New York, which is upstate New York. How do you know? Did you do shows with him or something? You just know him from online?
I know him from Facebook. Now I did know he's the administrator on a site called No Respect. A lot of comedians hang out there.
I get No Respect.
And No Respect, and that's where it's based on, because the guy who started No Respect used to book for Dangerfields. A guy named Julian Donat or Julius Donat, Donat. I don't remember, but and actually years ago I was booked for Dangerfield, and I had to cancel because of an event in the family, and he was not very nice to me. Even though I gave him like 2 weeks notice, and he was not Yerry. Robert wasn't part of this, but Julian, he was a real dick to me. I guess he thought I was making it up. But
Jackie's story about Dangerfield and how this is how Jackie got started in comedy. Do you know this? I don't know.
Is this the blowjob story or the hand job story?
Neither. It's the ass job.
Oh, there's another story?
The ass job story.
Oh, okay.
Jackie was just doing he was doing off-hour rockers, which basically was a music act where he would tell a couple of jokes in between. And his friend Richie Minervini, who owned East Side Comedy Club, he came to Jackie's and he said, I performed at Dangerfields last night. He called me up and I did did a couple of jokes there, and he liked me. He's going to have me back. And so Jackie started, he took it upon himself to send Rodney jokes. And one of the jokes he sent
right.
was the two-bagger joke. The two-bagger joke that everybody learned in fucking elementary school or whatever. And Rodney thought it was a great joke. Oh, I'm going to use that kid, send him $50 for it. And this is how he got into comedy and opening for Rodney, is because he sold Rodney a joke that his grandfather probably told him. It's a very interesting, but it turned out Richie Minamiri was lying to him. He wasn't even at Dangerfield. He made the whole fucking thing up. So it's good it pays to have friends that lie to you.
I have a friend. I don't want to mention his name because he hasn't. I don't think he's told. I haven't heard him tell this story in public, but he was having a feud with Bill Maher because years ago, Bill Maher stole one of his jokes and used it on live television.
Wait, now, because Stanhope has had issues with Bill Maher stealing stuff too, but I think what it turned out was Bill Maher was just reading stuff his writers gave to him. Do you know if it was a Bill Maher direct steal or was it his?
My understanding is it's the Bill Maher direct steal. My understanding is the Bill Maher direct steal because when he told the story, he says Bill Maher stole, not like I have stories where I know writers have taken my stuff and used it on date.
But isn't that a shitty cop out though? Like, don't these guys read this stuff before they go out?
They go out, but they don't know. I mean, how do you can't? There's no database to say, "Are my writers handing me jokes they stole from me?" You hire good writers, you trust them. You don't have fucking time. They hand it to you the night of the show, by the way. So
yeah, and I'm a nobody. I'm a virtual nobody. Nobody.
I was just curious.
If somebody steals something from me and uses it, nobody's gonna know who I am. It's not like they stole it from, let's say, Louis C.K.
Yeah.
And then Louis said, "Whoa, I've heard Louis C.K. do that." Be like, my wife would be the one that goes, "You did that 2 weeks ago and posted it on YouTube." It's like, son of a bitch.
That's one of the things we're talking about, that Seinfeld, the 5 comedians Seinfeld hates and has a feud with. One of them was Goldthwait, but another one was Rogan. And apparently Rogan had accused Seinfeld of stealing jokes from Kevin James, I think it was. But, this is one of the things where, it turned out, here it is. It's Kevin James was doing a bit on the muffins being the top of the muffins being the only part that anybody cared about. That ended up in Seinfeld's show, but Seinfeld didn't write that part. And even though Kevin James was a friend of his, and he didn't know that. I'm sure he didn't know they were stealing part of Kevin James' act and incorporating it into Seinfeld's show. I doubt that that's what happened. Because Jerry is always, I'm not defending Seinfeld here, but what I know about him, he's always been very anti-joke thief. That's a line you don't cross. And so I don't think he would allow his writers to do that intentionally. But the feud thing is very interesting to watch all these comedians who actually hate each other and say it.
Yeah, but since these things are, because I've seen one or two of these things they're like AI voiced. The ones I've seen are like all AI voiced. And so without the actual testimony of the actual people, the AI can sensationalize almost anything.
I agree. But then the one I saw, and it was an AI voice, the one I saw last night, but they would cut away to the actual clips. Sometimes the AI voice would say it after, like you'd see the clip where Rogan is accusing Seinfeld of stealing a joke, and then the AI voice came on. And even one time Rogan accused Seinfeld of stealing a joke. It's like, we know that. We just saw that, Mr. AI. Maybe you should fucking rearrange your little video here. But they showed the authentication of everything they were talking about.
I'm saying if you can still like do the clips, like the snippets, and if it's not the whole thing, the whole backstory, or whatever. In other words, you can have actual facts and still make it a lie.
Yeah,
but I'm not saying it's a lie. But I'm saying, but you can make it worse than it was, even though you have the actual facts.
Yeah,
I'm just saying, like someone could blow up our relationship by the little things we say back and forth.
Yeah.
And then go take this and little actual snippets, like when you called Steven a faggot, and it looked like you were talking to me, but you actually
Great. Now we've all said it.
Wait, I didn't say faggot. Did I say faggot? I didn't say faggot.
You said
I would
faggot,
never,
and then
I would
Dee
never
said
say
faggot.
faggot. I have never said faggot in my life.
You said faggot after Jackie said faggot.
Fuck you, you faggot. I never said faggot.
Oh my God.
Oh.
Fucking fat faggot.
Well, the point is, someone can take that and take those snippets and say there's such a the behind the scenes a blow up or the on air blow up on Coffee with the Dog, and then you have just these little snippets of each one of us using that word.
For my gay friends out there, if they're not done beating off, I will say it one more time because I know you get off when I say that word. I mean, I know this for a fact because a couple of them have asked me to say faggot to them while they were.
And you've obliged. See, I knew you were a gay.
Yeah, well,
I'm gonna help my gay friends come.
You would,
yeah.
you wouldn't. It's not a lot of effort to put in for your friend. That's all.
First of all, it's not.
I want no part in helping my friends come.
It's not that, Stephen. He has an alternative lifestyle.
An alternative lifestyle.
I can't read any of those signatures.
You, Jack, I'd love to wrap my lips around you and make you cream.
I have one gay
Whoa.
friend.
Who is that?
I have one gay friend who makes me very uncomfortable on anything.
Only one.
Well, because he posts on, he comments on my Facebook.
Forces you to look him in the eyes when he comes?
No, I don't. I've never been in the same room with him. He's in LA. I'm here, but he posts on Facebook. He comments on everything on Facebook. It's really. Like, I know he wants my dick. He can't have my dick. I mean, even if I were gay, he would not be the guy I would go for ever. I mean, I tell him, like, take some saltpeter, dude. I mean, I know how chicks feel when fucking creepy guys just don't let up with the shit. I think I've rebuked your advances more than 10,000 times. You should take the fucking hint.
I have a question real quick, Matt. The show started off going from 9 to 11, and then we started stretching it to 11:30 on a regular basis.
Right
now, it's like we're starting to stretch it to noon on a regular basis.
I'm not on a regular basis. I think yesterday we ended on time.
No, yesterday I saw the timestamp. It's like 2 hours and 51 minutes or some shit.
How the fuck did that happen? I need explanations of how this is.
That's what I was curious because I always try to go back and rewatch, and I saw that it was literally just you two for 2 hours and 50 minutes, and I was like, "Whoa!"
Yeah, I don't know. I'm sorry about that. I probably.
I'm not complaining. It's just that I would just like to know if we're going to start going to 12 because then I have to change my.
We're probably going to.
I have to change my bladder is timed to release.
Also, you're experiencing a little prostate urge thing where it doesn't ever want.
No, but it's just like I know like I go in the morning and then I make myself go in the afternoon so that I'm free to do stuff so I don't have to stop. And so I have a time release thing on my bladder and it's set for 11:30.
I want that time release. I need to acquire that time release skill because there are times when I'm tempted to just run out of the house and pee outside. That's how bad it is. When somebody's always in the fucking bathroom. When I get this fucking overwhelming urge of prostate, no.
I've got some stories from when I go to visit people who only have like one bathroom and they have a bunch of guests at the house.
Oh.
Okay, you know how a washing machine has a hose that goes into like a pipe, and that goes. You ever pee in one of those?
This is probably a story for another day, but we were young men. We were renting a house, and Joe Mignani had his cousin from out of state, and for some reason we left him in the kitchen while we went to do like a drug deal in another room. The bathroom wasn't even occupied. We come back and like, what's that smell? So it smells like shit in here. What the fuck? The guy took a shit in the kitchen sink, and nobody was even in the bathroom. Like, what the fuck?
Okay, did they have a what's that thing? A disposal so that they can grind it up?
No. I mean, the only story I have that's similar to that was everyone in our house got food poisoning and I was on the toilet, and the two little kids, like they had to go to the bathroom, so we were just like, just sit on the tub, fuck it, like just go. And then my wife had to go, and she's like, I don't know what to do, and she ends up grabbing the trash can out of the kitchen and like sitting in it, pooping, and it was just so bad. It was such a bad day.
What the hell? Remind me to tell at some point, and you, Steven, won't be here to remind me unless I tell it tomorrow. The story about when I made a judge puke on the bench. He puked on the bench. I was in the witness stand, and my testimony made him puke.
Testimony farting. FYI, Matt, only because you mentioned this, I'm gonna have to Reverend make a list of the games and send you a list of his games.
That's what I want. Thank you for reminding me.
Do you want the description of the games or just the titles?
Just the titles.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good. That's a lot of writing.
Yeah. I don't need the descriptions because nobody's gonna. I mean, it's for basically song lyrics for Tantaley. I don't know.
Right.
I'm gonna tell the story really quickly, and then we'll end it. There was a time I'm bad with the years, somewhere around 1990, in a bar who was a sponsor for my radio show. And my producer had a thing for the bartender. Her name was Sandy, and she had a friend who was at the bar. We never met before, and she was talking to me, and it looked like she was flirting with me. Her boyfriend that she lived with was in the bar, unbeknownst to me, and thought I was hitting on her. He came over, he grabbed me and spun me around and sucker punched me, punched me right in the face. And I was so stunned by the fact that it didn't hurt. It felt like a little kitten going poof to me. I was like, what the fuck? I was literally shocked that's the stuff that, like, it didn't hurt at all. Like, what? You gave me your best shot, sucker punch me, and I hardly feel a thing. And so then people grabbed him, and now he's fighting with the bar owner out on the street. And the bar owner's got some kind of weird, like, martial arts thing, pressure point thing going on with two fingers, and the guy's like paralyzed, laying on the floor. Cops come, and this girl now, she tells the cops, my kids are in his house. I need to get them out of his house. He's psychotic. The cop says, get in the car. I get in the car with her. I got nothing to do with this fucking girl. I get in the car to go to their house to take, and the cop says, yeah, go in with her and get the kids out of the house. Like, I don't even have the wherewithal to explain to the cop, I don't even fucking know this girl. As we're coming out of the house with her kids, the guy pulls up in another car, and he runs up and he comes to sucker punch me again. I was like, nah, that one time is enough. I get him in a full Nelson, and I get him on the ground. And the cops start fucking whacking him with the clubs, fucking beating him with fucking billy clubs. And the cops are saying, yeah, hold him there. And they're beating the shit out of him. And I'm like, this has gone on far. They're going to fucking beat this guy into a fucking coma. So I start to let go with one hand, and then he starts to wrestle with me. And I just took him, and I did what I've been known to do in my youth. I bit his fucking head in the back of his head, and I bit a chunk of his head off his head, hair and all.
Did he have hair? Oh, okay, he did have hair. That was
hair and all. And then I went, pah! And it landed on the cop, and the cop had this fucking chunk of skull and hair on him. And as I was telling that story on the stand, because he was accusing the cops of doing this to him, I telling that story on the stand, the judge went, it's like, wow, that's testament to my ability to make a story very
Tantaley testament is what that was. That's disgusting.
Yeah, it was pretty bad.
Matt, I put it in the chat, private chat. The names. Does that help you?
Yeah. I'm just gonna copy and paste it here right into a text file.
Okay.
All right, so we can end this nonsense today. Yeah.
There are more titles. I just can't remember them off the top of my head.
So. What about off the bottom of your ass?
I can check.
Faggot. All right. So this will probably be our last show. I can just imagine the gay guys just like circling my house with signs.
The gay wagons are circling.
Yes.
Well, I have marked 7 places where I want to make shorts. I just hope I have the time to do it.
Oh no! Don't do that. Don't
do what?
Don't make shorts of me saying faggot, 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 faggot,
Oh,
faggot,
damn.
faggot, faggot.
I had three of the shorts was that.
All right.
Actually, no, one of them was one that the pause was. No, it was two of them.
Stephen, the next to last time you want to say the phrase that pays, or no, you don't want to?
Yeah, I'll say it. I'll say it. Don't forget to turn on your radio.
What a faggot.
Are you high right now?
Vagina.
It's coming for you.
listen to me now. Listen to me, listen to me, listen to me now. Listen to me, listen to me, listen to me now. Listen to me, listen to me, listen to me now.